Don't look at me. You gotta realize.
Don't look at me.
You gotta.
I'm gonna look at you for 3 hours.
You gotta realize how unnatural this is.
What?
Life is not spoken through this or heard through that.
I know.
All right.
I know.
It's
weird, right?
and it's not seen through that either. So why are you doing this? Why are you subjecting your subjects to this?
Well, the thing is, it is done through all those things, but without the filter, which that is of the microphone, the headphones, and the camera. Like we hear,
Yeah.
we speak,
Yeah.
we see, right? But these don't differentiate between things like our brain does. So it forces you to actually see, actually hear, and actually see, or actually speak. So you kind of, it gets heightened. The conversation gets heightened, you get more locked in because you can't escape this. And the viewer can't escape that. You know, it's there.
I disagree with all that, but you're smarter than me, so I'm going to have to... My cones and rods need you right now, okay? My cones and rods don't have you at the moment. I see my reflection, and it's scaring me.
Well, the plastic doesn't help because it gives you a reflection, but the plastic is for COVID reasons.
Are you getting... Is your work offering you vaccine possibilities?
They bring it up a lot, but because we're college level, not K through 12, we're like a couple tiers away. It shouldn't be that way because the infrastructure of America relies on the higher education system. It's billions upon billions of dollars upon billions, maybe even trillions if you put all of the universities and colleges and community colleges and trade schools together.
Oh, yeah.
So it's important, but I get obviously K through 12 is more important first. We're secondary. We're not mandatory to exist.
This at this very moment, actually, 1 week from right now, I'll be getting my second shot.
How was the first one?
I mean, it sucked. I'm a baby, but it sucked. I mean, I haven't gotten a shot in, I couldn't even tell you how long. Probably sixth grade or whatever.
I know you
know
ignore
what I mean?
doctors at all costs.
Yeah. And
what about tetanus? You haven't gotten a tetanus shot?
yes.
You should get one
Question
because
mark?
that's something that could...
I mean, I've never gotten one as an adult saying, like, let's go get a tetanus shot. But the only shots I've ever gotten have been mandatory, like school related. And I couldn't even tell you. Do you get some for high school? I don't even
You do
remember.
before high school. 8th grade,
Before high school?
you get a couple shots. You definitely get tetanus.
Okay.
And I'm surprised your work doesn't make you get tetanus and stuff because you can easily like cut yourself doing what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And then get infected and die.
But yeah, the first shot, it was fine. I mean, if I'm being like honest or serious, it was fine. My arm was sore for like a solid like 48 hours afterwards. Like I could barely get it.
It was the left or right arm?
I chose the right. They asked which one. I just said no, this one, just because. But
I wish you chose the left since you're a righty, so you didn't.
I honestly didn't even think it. It was literally just the closest one to the doctor. So I was just like, oh, this one. So, but yeah, it was. So that was kind of weird. And like sleeping, like you couldn't, because I'm a side sleeper. You couldn't really. But 48 hours of some minor discomfort for or to be on a respirator the rest of my life,
Right.
I'm okay.
Any side effects besides just the pain?
No, I mean, I thought fatigue, but that could just be having a almost 4-year-old, or it could be a mental, or
That's what
just
you keep
life,
hearing,
and then that too, yeah. But the second shot from some people at my job have been saying like they were out like 104 or 103 degree fever but only lasting for like 2 days or so at maximum, and they're just like chills, stuff like that. But again, these are older people. I don't know their immune system, but
You're pretty healthy.
Yeah.
I could.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
This moment we are living currently, I said this the other day to my wife, maybe she agreed or not, I don't know, but I am the most unhealthy I've ever been.
Really?
At this moment.
Can you elaborate? Because like physically, I look at you and you've always been
Vertical, you got to wear
like,
vertical.
Have you
to hide
ever
the-
been remotely overweight ever?
No, but
Like,
listen.
what do you weigh? 170?
If I weighed 170, I'd jump out a window.
I don't know what you weigh.
I'm probably, I hate. I'm probably 162, 3
okay.
right
It's
now.
close.
But so here's the thing though. So in growing up my whole life being like the skinny one, it's so weird. Like I even hesitate to verbalize because like, oh, really? What's your problem, skinny? You know, versus like a bigger person having real problems. But like you go 20, 30 years being told you're the skinny one, and then all of a sudden you step on a scale, and I weighed 145 pounds for probably 25 straight years. And then that one time I stepped on the scale and I was 151, you know what I mean? Like your
Yeah.
world kind of shifts a little.
So interesting.
But I know it's not a problem. I know I'm fine. But you know what I mean? When you are that one thing for that long
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're not, and now that I'm dipping into the 160s, it's like, again, I know I'm fine. But also though, I'm not as physical as like COVID killed me, man. Like I did not, I went the opposite way. Like, I spent more time scooping ice cream into my mouth than I did doing sit-ups and push-ups and pull-ups. You know what I mean? Whereas it's always been the opposite. So so that's messed me. And it's like certain things like run to that end of the building. Okay, I could do, anyone could do that. But now I do that and I'm like, okay, that kind of sucked. All right, but that could also be, I'm 35. Things aren't as easy as they used to be. You know, no excuse. There are plenty of 35-year-olds that run marathons. But it's like, again, being that person that could run laps on a basketball court and not even sweat. And now all of a sudden, I can't do it like
You
I
get back
used
into it. It's only
to.
February.
And it is very doable. But that's the thing, is that getting over that hump, that mental, you know, just getting past that first step of doing it. But yeah, it's nothing but excuses. I have a rowing machine in my basement, and I love to row. Ask me the last time I rowed that rowing machine, Benjamin.
When is the last time you rode a rowing machine, Matt, in your basement?
I don't know.
Summer?
No, it was definitely cold out, so like this winter. But was it quality? No, I probably did 7 minutes, and then I turned on the PS4. So yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. And it's hard to like again, being the skinny one, and man, this makes me sound like such a turd, but like,
No, it's fine.
but to see,
Growth?
but not positive growth,
Fat growth.
yeah, is like it messes with you. I don't like I've looked into certain things and I've listened to certain things, but like the words body dysmorphia come up, and I don't think I have that. I don't know if there's a step or a tier below, because I think that's a real deal problem, an issue.
It's a spectrum for sure.
But yeah, but like I dip my toes into that, and it's
I feel
not
like
fun.
everyone does in a certain way. Like I
Yeah.
do too. Like I need other people to tell me what I look like, because I'm just like,
You don't know what you look like.
you fully know. I'm
No.
like, I had to ask somebody. I'm like, what kind of body type do? Like, what do
Yeah.
I have right now?
Especially,
what am I?
we're old enough to be like yeah, we have and are on social media, and there are ways to see ourselves and all that. But like growing up, we weren't on that 24/7. You know what I mean? So
Nothing
to see
at
a
all.
picture of you from the ages 1 to 15 is like, what are there? Maybe a total of 100 to 200.
Yeah.
You probably took 100 to 200 photos this calendar year of
Oh,
yourself.
more.
You know what I mean?
Before even posting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, so we don't know. I've never been I shouldn't say never, but I've never been comfortable in my own skin, ever. The only time I was comfortable in my own skin was like 3 years ago, when my hair was down to my knees and I hadn't showered in like a month and a half. Like I never, like that's why I've altered myself in certain ways. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah.
I don't, I want to say like I don't like what I look like, but like I just have never been comfortable. And so that was what that was about, was like, this is where I'm most comfortable. And I think you know what I'm talking about.
know
The
exactly what you're
listeners
talking
might not know what this means. But,
Long hair.
But like, but not only long hair, but knotted up long hair.
Do you find yourself with the beard, the hair, the tattoos, even slightly, not even slightly, definitely different fashion relative to your age, family, friends? Maybe not friends, but family and age, because I can relate to that. Do you find that to be like something that, how do I say this? Was it natural for you to have the tattoos, the hair, the beard, and the clothes, and the mindset? But also, was it something that you kind of fed off of because it? Do you know what I'm saying?
It was two things.
It's always two things. Right?
It was two things. It was a mask and a barricade to try and tell people to get away from me. But yet at the same time, I'm screaming for attention.
Yes, it gives you
Just
attention because
scream.
someone always
Yeah.
says something.
Oh yeah,
Always says
and
something.
as much as I do not want a stranger coming up to me and doing all that, I loved it.
Right.
I still love it. You know,
It's weird,
I want
right?
it.
And it's like not
I miss it.
everyone does it in their own way.
Yeah.
In their own way. If you were a 6'1", full head of hair, blonde hair stud who's, just 200 pounds ripped, that's your version of doing the same thing. And I know those people and I talk to them and they're self-conscious and
Yeah.
worried about themselves, but they do it because that's how they can interface and get people to look at them.
Yeah.
And I've done the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you know this because we haven't said this yet, but we're cousins. You grew up hanging out at this
Allegedly.
house a lot. I grew up in this house. Our grandfather built this house. This was his study where he did sermons. It's crazy. This was John's room, my brother, your cousin. Yeah, we know each other very well, better than anybody else. And then we also did a lot of stuff together later in life as adults that still kept us together in a way that most people are not.
Yeah, we grew up as children together doing the child things, the things that children do. But there was
We're 5 years apart.
yeah.
So
And once, high school hits or a car happens, it's all of a sudden like, I'm going to go this way instead of this way and whatever. But then we came back. And it is beyond a blessing that we did. And I don't know if I've ever expressed this to you, or if I have, it hasn't been as sincere as this moment. But like us coming together at the time that we did was huge for me, was massive for me. It saved me. Like,
how do you mean it saved you?
I wasn't in the greatest of spots. I wasn't like, I wasn't like about to do anything tragic, but it just wasn't. I was just like lost. I was out there. I had I was single at the time, so I didn't have that. I lived in a random person down the street's basement.
I'm so glad it was down the street too, because
Yeah.
that first year and a half, because we started really out of nowhere. I remember it specifically, like out of nowhere. You like, for those listening, like you and Mike specifically are notorious for just like showing up, saying hi, sometimes text, like calling or text, like I'm coming by. Well, Mike just shows up. He now texts because of COVID, but I
Does he
can't tell
still
you the
just
times I would
show
be
up?
sleeping on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Just went to bed at 6. Badge! Badge!
Oh my god!
What's up? And then we talk for 5 hours. I'm just like, what the?
The worst, but the best in a way.
It's
you
great.
know?
And you would do the same, but not quite like that. And one day, I think you just kind of like, we hung out and you're like, do you know what a podcast is? By the way, this is happening because of you. So I hope you know that.
No.
I would not
knew
be
you
doing
were
a
going to say that,
podcast.
and I had a rebuttal
Okay,
waiting.
well, let me finish. I didn't know what a podcast was in May 2012 when you asked me about them and asked if I wanted to start one, Friends of Music. I had them on, I saw the list, the tab on my iPod Classic. I didn't know what it meant. I saw it on iTunes. I didn't know what it meant. And you were talking about all these podcasts that you like. There you go. He's got an iPad Classic.
Ask me how many gigs. Come on.
Is that worth like $1 million? Jesus.
I'll tell you what, it was expensive. This is my third one.
Is
Fourth
that the
one.
120?
The 160.
160?
The highest one. Was it
The
164?
most recent one before they canceled them, like what, 5,
160,
6, 7 years ago they got rid of them?
Yeah. So you can't find these anymore.
No,
you
you
can
can't.
get them used and
You
abused
can't.
for like $250.
When they canceled them that month, they were on eBay for like $1,000.
Yeah.
And I had one.
Yeah.
I was so tempted to sell it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know anything about podcasts. You come up to me. It's May 2012. You're 26. I'm 22. You're turning 27 in a month. So I see where you're at. You're single. You live in a basement down the street. I'm single. I live in my basement here. And I have a crazy beard, crazy long hair. You have a crazy beard, crazy long hair. We're like kind of matching up already. And we were running a lot, and we'd meet each other. and I would run around the park, and you'd run, and we'd go into Eddie's pool, whatever. We had our thing.
Yeah.
You had your bike. You'd
Yeah.
ride over. It was a green with the big wide handles.
Still have it.
Yeah, and you'd ride it over, and you were like, Ben, you know, you want to start a podcast?
You're missing a key detail.
I'm missing a key thing. Okay.
We were at a party.
Yes. We were playing beer
Whose house?
pong.
I have no
I'm not going to
idea.
say who it was, but it was in Bridgeview.
You know whose house
I
it
do.
was?
And
'Cause I
exactly,
have no
I
idea.
know everything about what you're saying because I remember we were talking about Tool as well.
As we often do.
And we did because I just got into them.
But
Yeah.
But why? Like at that time, like yeah, you would host or go to parties or whatever, but you weren't like the partier. Like
No,
you
I
weren't
never
the
was.
atypical partier.
Still not.
And still not. Yeah. But this I had no business being there. One, because the only person I knew was like you and maybe Eddie. I don't even know. But like, why? Why were we there?
We
Why
were
was I
hanging
there?
out,
Like,
and I asked if you wanted to just come with. I wasn't even drinking. We played beer pong, and we kept
but
winning.
the thing about that, yeah,
And we weren't
see,
drinking.
I'll never forget that because we dominated that beer pong table.
Yeah, we did.
I never played before in my
I
life.
never really played either, maybe once or twice.
But not only like I wouldn't have gone to that party if my own friends asked but I had no business being there.
Yeah, why did you?
I don't know. I think I was maybe doing one of those like you need to say yes more. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
probably were.
And but I'm glad I did because I think right there is when we talked about podcasts.
Yeah, it is. And then we kind of finished the thought in the basement because I remember sitting at my
remember
chair and you were
talking,
kind of
yeah.
like, you were sitting on the couch that we did it on. And
Yeah.
you were kind of like talking about it. And I was like, yeah, I got mics. And I hooked up the two mics I had, the two SM57s, and we did two SM58s, and we did a couple like that. And then my new mics came in.
Oh man.
Very soon after that.
There was
the nice
a
ones.
span of time where like a week couldn't go by without you having like UPS boxes and equipment.
Still the same way. No, there's for 10 years, there's just been nonstop packages brought here.
Benjamin, you could have said anything to any of those questions or discussions we had that could have altered time and space. Like you could have said like, no, I'm not really into this, or no, I don't have the time, or maybe another time or whatever. And things could have been drastically. Oh man, I'm remembering things. So I'd been listening to podcasts for a while even before that, and was like thinking like, oh man, that's fun. I'm enjoying this. Like I think this is doable. All you need is mics and stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing with that stuff. But I was driving home from. Are you ready for this? You'll never guess in a million guesses. I was driving home from bartending school. And I wrote down in my car at a red light, like ideas for a podcast because they were just popping into my head. What the fuck was I doing at bartending?
I remember when you did that, and I was like, what are you doing there? And you're like, well, I don't drink, so I would make a great bartender.
I had this like grand idea of like I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna like have this side hustle where I'm just like flinging like drinks and this and
you
that.
You would though. Those people make a fortune. I have many friends who did it.
Our teacher would be like, I go to like Tahiti for like a month and I make more money than I make the rest of the year. Like,
oh yeah, I know. I have not to sound sexist, but I'm not sexist. But the women I know who bartend make a lot of money. A lot of money.
And that's the thing. Like I had applied to every bar from the north side to the far south side, or not. I shouldn't say applied, but inquired at the very least, and got shut down. And after hearing no so many times, I just gave up.
Well, the way you look and the way you looked then, they would hire you at a dive bar.
Yeah,
you'd be making $20 an hour,
and that's
as opposed to $100 an hour. You know?
I think I set my bar a little too high. I didn't go as divey as I probably should have been. I should have started from the bottom, but I didn't. A
lot of those places too want past experience.
Yeah.
Like the nicer ones where you come home with $500 every night.
Zero experience.
Yeah, they want the experience, but they also want the aesthetic, the beard, the hair, the tattoos.
That's what I figured. Like get some rock and roll bar or whatever.
No. I'm talking. They want those models, man or woman.
Oh,
they want to attract. They want. You know what I'm saying.
Ego.
I'm not a model either. You know exactly what I'm saying.
No, definitely.
So back to that time, we started the podcast, Friends with Music.
Why did I go to bartending school?
I think it's so fun. I remember when you told me that, I was so shocked because like
still
you don't
have my
drink.
diploma.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
My wife makes fun of me to this day about
Certificate,
it, rightfully
or
so.
diploma.
I mean, it's one of those.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
all the same.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But anyways, yeah. So we started friends with music, but again though, like it was just so beautiful that we did come back together because
As cousins, as people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because from a distance, like to pop in every now and again and see what you got going on with the band and the DZ and all that was just always like, you can't. How can you not be envious of that? Like it's like, oh man, he's got a thing going here. How come I'm not?
And that's
here
back when
more?
it
Like,
wasn't
that's
a
not-
thing. like
But
you
it
thought
so
that, and
was though.
It was, but like no one, dude, man, you know,
But
nobody cared about anything I did.
But-
they like up there's Ben. Like let him make his triple album and have his little shows and do everything by hand.
but the friend structure
Yeah.
and stuff like that though.
Even
is-
they were kicking balls and giving me a hard time, per usual. I don't mean man balls. I mean soccer
But
balls
soccer
and
balls,
volleyballs and
yeah.
basketballs and
Oh,
actual
man.
balls being kicked around the yard. No, it was it's an amazing thing and it's fun and it's different.
But there's another point I want to throw your way, kind of related, is growing up, knowing us like we know each other, a way overdue apology is owed to you from me. And it's an impossible thing to do. It's impossible. But you and I realized this. It took a long time, but seeing your friends and you and how this has grown and everything, and just comparing it. But you weren't treated so kindly sometimes by myself, and you know what I mean. You weren't, and it was so undeserving. And I can use youth and just being a dumb kid as an excuse, but it's not an excuse because none of that was deserved. And it breaks my heart. Like I almost like I can't bring it out because it's too heavy of a thought and emotion. But it's not fair. You weren't treated kindly, and I apologize for that. And even like it's just. I'm sorry, Benjamin.
it's
I was a bully.
it's fine.
You I'm sorry, Benjamin.
It's fine, Matt.
It's not though.
You're 5 years older.
Not an excuse.
I know it's not an excuse, but I see it now. And you were not the only person to make fun of me at all.
And it's heartbreaking.
Trust
man.
me. I was a strange child. We all know it.
But that's too because I got picked on.
Yeah, you did.
A lot as well.
By your cousins. And
But my I'd get it, and what I would do is turn to the younger ones, my little brother, you, anybody, and hey, let me
what
get
everyone does.
the big guy got me, now let me get the little guy, and it's just that cycle of
man, it's what everyone does. And it is an excuse that you were younger because you don't do that. And you probably haven't done that for a long time. But it's sad when adults still do it and you don't,
yes, no, but my default is to make fun of. Like that's all I want to do is just kick the door down in this room and be like, whoa, look at that. You know what I mean? And that's not cool. Like that's so lame. Like, but I think having a child has really awoken me to some of this stuff. But it's like that's like even me and my friends, like our default is to hammer each other. Like that is what we do. And I don't know if that's your default with your friends, but there's
Personally,
a lot of,
I don't think it is for me personally.
yeah, there's a lot of love in this friend bubble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of my best friends, I don't think I've ever told him I love him. I love him dearly. Like I could say it anonymously on this podcast, but like I love this guy. I've known him for a million years. He's been with me through thick and thin. I was playing video games with him last night. I don't think I've ever told him I love him. You know what I mean? I don't even think I've ever told him I like him.
You should though. People should do it
I know,
more.
I know. But that's not that's not my wiring.
It's not most people's wiring to do that. So when one does that, it throws people off. It throws people off with relationships when you're trying to woo
Yeah.
somebody and you're
Yeah.
too loving and romantic. People are not used to that.
Yeah.
They're used to that brutal world where people are not that nice.
Yeah.
The fairy tales are not real.
Yeah.
The movies have lied to you. The fantasy
True.
books aren't real.
I subscribe to all that, by the way.
What?
None of that is real. Like, we are lied to.
We are lied to, but
That's not love.
That's not love.
Love is work.
Is work. It's an action. It's an expression. It's time. It's investment.
Not just love, but a relationship, be it friendship, cousinship, courtship, what have you, is work. In my version or my thoughts on it is work. Every day you have to work on it. You have to.
I mean,
And it's not easy.
We put a lot of work into our friendship and the things we did. And you showed up all the time. Like, thank you for showing up to always be there and help.
I knew you were going to say that too, and I got a rebuttal. Benjamin.
Rebuttal?
Nothing that the progress. Ooh, that was a plosive.
That was close. It's okay. I'll filter it out as much as I can.
The progress made in DZ Records was, by definition, you cannot exceed 100%, but is 1,000% you. You cannot. Oh man, you should. I took a garbage out once and lied about doing it because Eddie did it. So I've done nothing but be a weight around your neck.
No.
Every person that has called this place home has been nothing but a weight around your neck. And you know it, you'll never admit it. But come on, Benjamin. This is all you. This is all your blood, sweat, and tears. And it is amazing for that. And you need to take some credit.
What do you say to that? No one can do anything by themselves.
Yes,
Nobody.
they can. I'm looking at them.
I've done a lot on my own, but could not even come close to doing things on my own without the foundation, the connection, the ideas, the support from people. And support's funny because the support I got from people
The best
wasn't.
the best thing anyone could do for you is to leave you alone, because without interference, the sky's the limit for you. Your parents, they didn't interfere. That was the best thing they could have done for you. They did, but
they learned to not.
Yeah, yeah.
And I also learned the dynamic of how to just be so honest, proficient, and just tried and true to where they knew they could just leave me be at a young age.
Yeah, you earned it, right?
They let me do stuff at a young age most kids did not do.
Yeah.
The climbing up the tree and building platforms as a child with zero support, zero adult supervision.
Yeah.
You know, when I'd be at the top of the tree, you know, as a kid, way up there, like 100 feet, my dad would tell me to jump and laugh. I'd be like, Dad, he'd be like, jump. He'd like walk. Like he'd say to jump. My mom would be like, she'd come home from work and I'd be like, Mom. And she'd look up way up the tree and she'd be like, Benjamin Joseph Wells, get down right now. You have a $500,000 brain. Get down right now. $500,000 brain. I was like, Mom, depreciated. It's all good.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
She always brought up that your head.
That is
I'm like,
so
Mom,
funny.
it's fine. But no, they've always been very.
That is great.
But like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, allowed to do that. Like, you know, it reminds me of like Christmas mornings. And, like we would, you know, we'd go do some things, sometimes like charity stuff or.
Yeah, you had said that on the last episode, and that jogged a memory. I remember you guys doing that. I totally forgot about that. You guys did that forever.
I hated it at the moment because how could you not? You're 10, you're 12.
Yeah.
You want to eat breakfast, open up your gifts and play, and then run down your neighbor's house and tell Eddie what you got, and he tells you what he got, and then you go back to your family party, you play football, and you have that day, right?
Yeah,
it's an epic childhood day.
Yeah.
And mine is go to Loomis and Lake, or St. Louis and Lake.
Yeah.
And it's a rough neighborhood. It's sad to see, but it opened up my eyes and it had long-lasting effects on me.
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget it.
Do you think your parents did that knowing that, or were they just like, hey, we want to do this and you're our kids, so you have to come with us?
Both,
Like,
because they grew up doing that. My mom, you know, our parents, like grandpa was like the most generous person ever. He gave everything to everyone. And our parents either, I noticed like in our family, I'm not going to say much about it because I'm not, but a lot of people went towards that feeling or away from it. not much of a middle ground, because it was such an extreme upbringing for them, I'm assuming, especially packing in 9, 10, 11 kids in this house, plus all the people that were always over because he's always counseling and talking.
Yeah.
Revolving door. This, for those who don't know, this house has been a revolving door literally for 70 years.
Since its conception.
Since the early 50s when they bought it, built it, and popped kids out left and right. And it just hasn't stopped since. From being a reverend's house where he was having people come in, helping drug addicts, alcoholics, counseling families with 11 kids and their friends and the neighborhood friends. You know, your mom was a neighborhood friend, like all of that. It's crazy. And then it goes all the way up to my parents having kids, and all 1 million cousins are here all the time. Like, this was the epicenter for everything. So to me, it makes sense that what has happened here to this day, it's natural for me. Like, people are like, oh, there's always people here. It's like, this, missionary. My mom would just tell me, I know when Michael Collins is staying in your room tonight. Go to Eddie's house. I'm like 10. I'm like, all right. Like, I would get kicked out of my house as a child with no supervision.
Yeah.
For missionaries and for family friends, and Uncle Steven's come and like give him your bed and a fan because he snores. You know, your dad, and it's just like, this was my life. Like, the DZ was perfect for me to go escape to get away from that and to have a place of my own. And it all made sense, and I don't know. I
wonder then if that is why the DZ became the DZ. If that wouldn't have been the case, if you weren't being constantly kicked out or whatever, would you have still?
It's a little bit of it's definitely a section of that, and it's a section of like I always enjoyed buildings.
Yeah,
always forests and clubhouses. I mean, I remember your dad gave me for like it was probably like his 6th or 7th birthday. He gave me like a 5-gallon bucket of nails. Like that's what. And I used all those nails. Like so I was like pushed into that, so like funny. Influenced into it, you know?
Yeah.
And
man.
Yeah.
I started before COVID hit. COVID really hit in February, March. The November before that, I started doing Meals on Wheels with Hugo. And like more for him. I mean, like it sounds weird like talking about it like I'm boasting him or whatever, but like I wanted him, you know, to get to instill a sense of, you know, charity community. And I mean, he was I may have probably could have waited a little bit because he was pretty young, but yeah, we were doing it, and he was coming with me every week, and it was awesome.
That's amazing.
But then COVID hit, and it was like, well, I shouldn't be taking him with me. Also, my work schedule changed, so I couldn't. I'd stopped. I haven't done it since. But yeah, I really wanted to give that to him, you know.
And you should, and more parents should do that in some sense, whether it's religious, you know, tithing or donations, or non-religious donations, anonymous donations, helping people, community work. I mean, for a long time back when Bo the dog was able to walk more, like go on far walks, I would walk him every Wednesday after garbage day and bring a garbage bag and pick up all the garbage around the neighborhood. Just, you know, because it's like I live here. Yeah. I have ridiculous things happen here that intrude on the privacy of the neighborhood. And I respect the neighbors for that so much, and I like want to have a clean neighborhood. I like having that. Yeah. And, you know, it's just simple things like that. It's like 15 minutes, two birds, one stone. I'm walking the dog. It's nice out. I'm having a conversation with someone I'm with, or I'm listening to a podcast. I'm picking up garbage. It's really not hard. I wish more people did something like that.
We have, I got to tell you this because it's so funny you say that. We have a street by us, Rockwell, goes along train tracks. And it's a smaller street. It is technically a two-way, but it is a smaller street, so it's kind of forgotten about. And because of that, it's just littered with garbage, you know. And I have fantasies of when Hugo's older, like either doing it as a punishment, like, hey, I told you to go clean up some trash. Or on the flip side, hey, bud, grab a bag, let's go. You and I, we're going to do a lap down the street. Like, I think the fantasies latter about doing more. That. Correct.
Because then what can happen, it could go both ways, but what can happen with forms of punishment is people can resent that and like never want to do it ever again. Yeah. Like I never want to touch garbage again because that was my punishment when I was a kid. Whereas what I did with my parents was not a punishment. It was just part of what you should do. Whenever you think you're poor or low income or struggling, there's people who have it so much worse, and they're right by you. They're right by you. They're here. They're there within miles. Like they're right there. You could see them walking down the street. And you're worried about your Christmas present or what you're gonna do that day. Hugo might be worried about going to hang out with his friends, and he has to spend an hour with Dad doing that. But that's gonna instill so much better things in the future.
Yeah.
More parents need to do that.
I could probably start doing that this summer then, right?
Probably,
or not even
yeah.
summer, spring, once the snow smells. Else
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
But
Benjamin.
by the way, go back to that. Thank you for your apology. Not necessary.
No, because
But it's good that you see it and you're aware of it. And like,
little clips will play in my head sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, and I just kind of sink.
you probably remember them more than me because you're 5 years older. When I'm 7 and I'm crying, like I don't like. That just reminds me of being a kid. I cried a lot. I was a huge, huge crier, if you remember.
But also, though, you were the youngest.
I was the youngest. I was the runt
of
everyone.
But like fairly often, you, my older brother, my younger brother, your older brother, and myself were in a room like this together. Mm-hmm. And that's just a recipe for disaster.
Oh my God.
That's
an
Mike's
awful idea.
7,
8 years older. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like a teenager, and I'm like a baby.
Yeah. So,
But it's funny though, because then like Mike hit a certain age where he kind of flipped, and he started being more like the mature adult mentor to me. He'd hang out with me.
Yeah.
I'd play with Kinects, and he'd ask me questions. He wouldn't make fun of me. It was like a weird flip. And same thing with you. Same thing with a lot of people when they get older. It's like it flips because they see like, what am I doing as a kid?
Yeah.
Like, but when you're like a kid, like you're 12 and I'm 7, like what do you expect? Like I just remember being you and I were always on a lot of the same teams together to balance out Eric and John. Because you were the oldest, I was the youngest, and they're in the middle. So it was always you and I versus them two. Still to this day, our football games. So I think that helped our bond with the podcast and all the...
I think too later on when I realized like, oh wait, Benj, like we listen to similar music and stuff, and he's getting into music and like that was like more magnetism towards you. You know what I mean? That interest, because I like music too.
I'm glad that
just faded away.
I'm glad that you were interested in the things like Friends of Music. That was the same year we started DZ Fest, and you were there for that. Because not a lot of people were into it as much,
the DZ Fest episode was episode 10 for Friends of Music. So listen up. None of those episodes, no one can get them. They're off everything. They've been scrubbed. But I have them all on a hard drive.
May I have them? I just want to have them.
No.
Recorded them. Let me get them.
No. Yes, you.
So many good conversations. So many really rare things. Like some of the people.
It was a lot of fun.
Friends that aren't around anymore. I mean, it's crazy.
It's a snapshot of those years in like the Chicago underground music scene for a while. Like it like there'd be episodes where it would be like your dad, and then the next would be like some random band, and like the next would be like just
we went through everybody, all of our friends,
everybody, and some.
There's so many interesting ones, and some of my favorites were just like me sitting on the futon, like playing Grand Theft Auto on the projector while you're interviewing some random person for like 4 hours.
Oh, that was
so many nights like that.
Those in particular were so much fun because we'd be deep in a conversation, then you'd do something insane on Grand Theft Auto.
And everyone would be like, whoa!
I was going to bring, because I still have all those notebooks, those little notebooks that I would write in. I still have them all. I was going to bring them, but Hugo peed his pants this morning, which he hasn't done.
He peed on them?
He peed, no, in his pants.
I thought he peed on them. I was like, Hugo, why are you peeing on them?
He hasn't done that in so long. He's potty trained.
Yeah.
And he still wears a diaper overnight just in case, but his diaper this morning was dry, which should have been a hint to me. I should have told him, hey, let's go potty, but we were just about out the door. We were literally standing on the door tiles. And
I relate to Hugo. You know this.
What's
my nickname?
So listen. So do you remember the worst night's sleep ever? At my dad's in the backyard, we slept in a trailer in the rain while music was blaring in the backyard. It was what was the occasion?
Mike's wedding.
Party.
I do.
Thing.
There was a big fight that night. Apparently, we missed.
There was a big fight that we missed.
Yeah.
So Do you remember like my dad had speakers like on the roof
Yeah.
or whatever, and the music was just all night
Yeah.
long. The rain just pounding
yeah.
on, and I remember you having to like in my head it was like every 15 minutes on the dot you woke up and went pee, but I felt like you went pee right outside of
probably
where
did.
my head laid.
I probably
so
did.
like I just heard this stream on like the leaves.
I've had an overactive bladder my whole life. It's so bad that I have to be like a
Oh
scientist
my god!
with my body biologically throughout the day just to mitigate it and like keep a hold of it
Yeah.
at night. Like I have to be. I went to a urologist once. I was
Yeah?
like, do I have like a disease? Like what's going on? He's just like,
You just have a small.
he's just
bladder,
like, you
or-
just have like a small bladder with like, and your prostate just presses
And it-
against it. It's just like the way your body developed.
Yeah.
It's just like you always have the sensation, and I have to pee a lot, but then like not a lot comes out. It's just like a little pee. And you're just like,
yeah.
the heck? I thought I had like a lot to get out of me, and there's like nothing. It's this weird sensation, and
Yeah.
I just deal with it. And it is what it is.
So
I have to pee
funny.
all the time.
I think about that night often. It's weird, but
I know.
whenever I
I
have a
know.
bad
I
night's
know
sleep, it's
exactly
like,
what night you're
oh,
talking because it was a terrible night's sleep.
awful.
It was a fight. It was very memorable.
Yeah. 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 There's
But
more to it,
back
I'll
to
keep that out.
us starting. Yeah, when we started Friends of Music and DZ Fest. I mean, it was interesting that you were the only person in our family and the only person who was older that like cared or wanted to like do anything, have anything to do with it. Like, can you elaborate on that? Like,
So-
what was going on in your mind? You know, I only know what was
So-
going on in my mind.
So the amount of times it's nowhere near the amount of times you've had to do this, but the amount of times I've had to tell somebody, be it friend, family, whoever, like, oh, that little thing Benj does, like, stop it. No, it's not that little thing. It's not Benj's flight of fancy for the week. Like this is real. Oh, that little band came up. Like, stop. It's not. It's everyone would try and undermine, and it's like no, like this is kind of real. Like until you see those stages out there, like you don't get it. Like it's not like, oh, Benj is making me like, no, it's not. Like it's everyone would always do that, and I'd have to like hammer it away.
I don't blame
like,
it though, because it's not at all what happens anywhere.
It's
Like,
not real
it's
life.
not normal
No,
stuff
it's
at
not
all.
real life at all.
Like
No,
I've had to
it's
come to
magic.
terms with how abnormal it is, not in a good or bad way. You know, it is what it is. But to me, it's normal.
Yeah.
I just have to separate from me and see from outside perspective.
Yeah.
And what helps with that is there's a lot of what you're saying, like, you know, just like what's going on here? What's this, and that? But the amount of nice people and compliments and people who feel disassociated, people who have the tattoos and the beards and the hair to hide, people who have anxiety and who don't fit in, the castaway people. Mm-hmm. I've gotten nothing but love from those people, and that's the thing that I focus on. I can't focus on it because, like, if you know what you're doing, know what you want, and someone else doesn't see it, they're of course they're not going to understand it, and they're going to say something, whether it's nice, passive aggressive, or just mean. It's either can be used as fuel, or you can just be like, you're just not seeing it, and that's fine, and I'm just going to keep doing what I do.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get in the way, and it is what it is. I mean, I just didn't ask for permission. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't ask for anything. I just did it.
Including by the local authorities.
Well, I, communicated with them, and they ended up being completely fine with it. But because it's harmless. That's the thing. It's crazy, but it's harmless.
Yeah. I was doing yoga when you sent that text that it was shut down. Like what, the Thursday before or whatever?
It was Wednesday afternoon.
I remember that text. Like I remember
2016.
feeling great because I just got done. Like, oh yeah, I feel good. Check my phone, and just
That was a rough day. I remember. I think it was June 29th,
awful.
2016.
of course you know that.
It was Wednesday, and
That was awful.
yeah, it was bad. I had to go talk to the police the next day, Thursday, and then we had a day and a half to set up the whole fest, which is really hard to do.
But let's quickly rewind to fest number 1 with. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember exact, but your parents leave for the weekend on a Friday. The stage is built and set up on a Friday evening.
So they would
The
leave.
fest is a Saturday. It's all taken down on a Sunday, and
It wasn't my first time I did that.
Intimate evening.
I learned how to do that from the intimate evenings. How to For those who are trying to learn how to have a gnarly, awesome 6-person or 6-band show in your basement without your family knowing about it while they're still home and they just went out for a date, hit me up. I'll tell you how to do it.
That was hilarious. That was so funny.
Yeah, I remember doing that, and people were like, "Wait, your parents are coming home tonight?" And there's just like 100 people in my basement were watching bands. I'm just like, "Yeah." As soon as these bands are done, we're cleaning the whole house, putting everything back to normal, and they're gonna show up. And they had no idea, and I did it multiple times. The first 3 DZ Fest they didn't know about. I did it while they were gone.
And they had no idea, right? Or
probably like
they thought like, oh, something like a party or whatever.
They thought I would like finesse the story. And the only thing that kept me from like feeling guilty about it was I'm sober the whole time. Mm-hmm. I'm not committing any crimes.
Yeah.
I'm doing something good.
Well,
not that I'm aware of. What crimes am I committing? I'm not drinking, doing any illegal drugs. I bought all this stuff, or people are coming together and bringing it to me. Whatever.
No one got hurt.
No one got hurt. I was very smart about it, very on top about it, very much bossy about it, and very controlling about it to make sure.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing I really didn't get, like, why I'm like that is to, like, avoid, to keep doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a job.
Yeah.
So people don't see it as, like, managerial skills and, like, boss-like skills. But to me, I didn't see it as a job. I saw, like, just like a job, in order to keep it moving forward, you have to be strict. You have to delegate stuff. You have to be on top of it. You have to be clear-headed. So that means I was always sober for all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Smoking, drinking, none of it was around me in my mind. So, like, yeah, it's like that's what you had to do, and that's all I did.
I remember having, or not I, but you remember a certain family member. I think you and I were helping them move, and you had a conversation with a certain family member telling you a certain job that you used to have. Mm-hmm. They were like, you could have taken the next step and blah blah. And I remember thinking,
where we were
like,
when it happened.
I remember thinking like, that's not a bad idea. He could be, he's got a chance to like, because this was before.
That was right in the middle of it. That was like I could have went this way.
Yeah,
that way. It was like 2015,
very
16.
fork in the road. Yeah, mm-hmm. And boy, am I glad you took.
I wasn't gonna take the way
you were doing a good job. Yeah, you were listening.
I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The thing is, I was fully aware of that. That's why I had UPS for so long. Mm-hmm. It was my ultimate. Everything I've done in life didn't work, so I still have like this career. Mm-hmm. That was the whole point. And then when I realized that fork in the road, I was like, all right, it's time to break away from that. Like, this is gonna work. I have to make this work.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, screw those jobs. I haven't looked back since. That was the happiest day of my life. My boss told me that I was no longer working there. I was just like, yes.
I remember you just like coming over and knowing like this was a time you should be at work, and you're like, why are you here? Oh, I just didn't show. Or what was you would always have like dreams that your alarm went off or whatever, mm-hmm. or you would turn your alarm off in your dream, or there's something like that. I remember
it was messing with me. I was all over the place. It wasn't for me. I would have like miniature panic attacks at UPS because I would sit there thinking so hard. I would literally be doing this to the other employees, like bending people's brains, just asking questions while we're throwing boxes, and they would just look at me like, dude, why are you here? Why are you here? Like, why are you here? Like, my bosses would be like, I always had a nice rebuttal to anything. They could not get to me, and they were just like, well, why are you here?
That's so funny.
You're not supposed to be.
That's so funny. There's so many amazing memories and experiences with the Friends of Music stuff. So many things that I miss, mm-hmm. and so many things that I don't miss.
Of course.
But I've got ideas for podcasts, Benjamin. I know
I got a place to do podcasts.
Do you? You know a guy?
I know a guy. Nice. Isn't it crazy? Like,
we'll have to talk off mic then.
It started off with just like crappy gear. We used to edit it in real time.
That was and oh man, that's one thing I do not miss. I have a question for you. I've tried to listen for it, but have you had any edits in this show yet?
Mm-mm.
Zero edits.
Zero edits. The only
other than like the beginning.
I did a bleep for when a guest needed me to bleep out someone's name.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, but they asked, so I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And then like when I had like Zoom podcasts, I might have done the artwork like before or after, and then just. But I didn't edit that conversation. I just put it before or after.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that linear time.
I tried to listen for some.
Keep it going. No, I don't want to edit anything. If someone says something, I'll look at the time and I'm like, I'll bleep that. But I'm not. Yeah. I don't want to because want people to understand how transparent
Yeah.
this is. I am.
Wondering
You are.
if this is going to be the first one to be edited.
No, I
Should
don't even
drop some
listen to them.
bombs. Do you
I
not?
I
You
know.
don't?
I take the audio, I take the video, I put them together, I do the intro and outro, I put the watermark in the corner, and I export and put on YouTube. I don't.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because that was one of the big revelation for Friends with Music is like the editing. Because I used to edit it in real time, literally listen to the whole thing. When I think you were like, wait, you listen? Like, why don't you just skip ahead? Like, if you know this chunk of audio is good and that conversation was good, just skip ahead. You know what I mean? Like I would never. And then it got to the point where I would be like, I would remember. I would even write
down the time.
Like,
Look over
okay,
the-
18-minute mark. Maybe you might want to do something about that or whatever. But yeah. But then it got to the point towards the end, at least for my tenure, there were no edits because I
Yeah.
knew how to. I knew how to guide the conversation, and instead of allowing it to get to the point where certain words or certain ideas or certain names were being dropped, we're not going to go that way. Let's go this way. So my question to you is, being a host of a podcast, what is your job as a host?
I relentlessly just pick and listen. I try my best to just listen. Listen and let that guide my next thought question, but be is honest and fair with like picking in the brain to open up what that person is clearly trying to say or getting at, but they're not quite there. They might need a little nudge, but mostly listening, sitting here locked in. That's where the headphones. That's where like not having anybody else around. It's kind of a tight space. It's kind of intimate, very cozy, and the having the sound in the headphones, looking straight at someone, it keeps you locked in, and you can listen. I probably get distracted or daydream maybe a total of 1 minute out of 3 hours and 30 minutes. Whereas with Friends of Music or other stuff, not being locked in, multiple people,
playing
mics
video games.
everywhere, you're just like, it's just harder.
yeah,
So like
yeah.
this situation is like perfect.
Yeah.
So I try to listen and go based on what the person's saying and guide it that way. And I try to never offend, but bring something out that maybe they want to say or is better for them to hear, stuff like that. But it goes places. I mean, I like not having a true like map to it, but just having conversation and letting it manifest. And it's different for different people, how well I know them. I've had people on here that I've never, maybe I met once or twice, like that's it.
But that's awesome too, because you now have documentation of a friendship being formed, which is beautiful. Like, how many of your friends can you just press play? Like Eddie, the first time you guys really bonded, can you press play on that? No, you can't. You know?
6. Like in Deeren, the boxer, a Muay Thai fighter.
Oh
like,
my God.
Dude,
That
guy blew my mind.
yeah, he needs to come back, or he needs his own show
I
in
love
general.
talking to him. I'm gonna go
So
to his
good.
gym soon and take up that lesson.
So that reminds me of a couple questions I have for you. One, have you ever followed up yet? Because you've said, I'm going to go to your welding shop.
So I
and
followed
weld.
with both
Are
of
you
them.
gonna? Yeah?
Yeah, so I followed with Jen.
You better follow up.
I'm going to. I do. That's what I do.
You know how many
I
times
follow-
during Friends of Music I said, yeah, I'll look into that. I never did.
No, I always try to follow up.
But good.
When a band sends music, I add it to the playlist. Like when someone, like I already was
Yeah.
texting and Darren the other day, like, what Thursday works for you? He's like, hey, I'm here every Thursday from 6 to 10. Just let me know before. I'm like, all right. So I'm just waiting for like the right Thursday soon. Hopefully within the next month, I'm going to go.
What was my second question? I forget now. What were we talking about? It was a good one, too.
How about this? I'm interviewing you. I'm going to go to another question.
Nope.
You keep asking me questions.
Exactly.
I see what you're doing.
Oh, no, I had a really good question for you that I really wanted to ask you. Have you followed up and, I can't remember. Go ahead.
You think of it while I ask.
All right, then I won't pay attention to you.
This is going to be a deep cut. You were doing a lot of, you were working, you had your own fun life. You went to a lot of shows. You're a big show music enthusiast. More than
Miss it.
more than most people I know.
I had tickets to see Rage Against the Machine before COVID and got canceled. Benjamin, Rage?
I know.
With Run the Jewels opening?
That's cool.
Oh my God. Rage is on the list of bands that I need to see live. I've never seen them.
You want to hear something funny?
Impossible.
You're going to hate me for this.
I got goosebumps. What?
I could have saw them
What?
in 2008.
2008
At
at
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza. And you did not because?
I saw Wilco instead.
Oh my God.
Let me elaborate. I regret it. Not that because I love Wilco, but I regret it only because at the time I really liked them, and I just got into their music, and their new album just came out, so I was like obsessed with them. And Rage was way more of a band I didn't know much about. I didn't listen to them. I only knew them from Tony Hawk 2, Guerrilla Radio. Like that's
yeah.
So I didn't know, but now years later, because this was in 2008, I'm 18 years old. So like throughout my 20s, I grew to understand who they are, what they did, how epic they were, how they don't play a lot. I have a better statistically. I should see them and not Wilco because Wilco plays all the time, right? They're from Chicago.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know that.
I never understood Wilco. They put me to sleep.
I could see that. I mean, I love them, but I could see that. I could totally see that. But you're really into like, you out of most people I know are into like rock, like you like all types of stuff, but your core is like rock, metal, alternative rock, progressive rock. Like you're in there.
Yeah.
That's where your baseline is. You go other places. I've heard you listen to everything and enjoy everything. But like just like I have a baseline of like experimental, like indie rock art stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's where like my baseline is. But I love everything. And what's helped me love everything, and it probably changed stuff for you too, was doing the sessions, talking to the bands.
Oh yeah.
Not generalizing anymore about genres and styles. When you got to a folk country band might have come in, and you're like, oh, it's folk country. I don't really listen to it. But then you see them play, and they're shredding on the mandolin and the fiddle, and you're just like, holy crap, these are better musicians than anybody else I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then you talk to them afterwards, doing an interview or just setting up, and you realize there's just people, and they went here, and they play at the Old Town School of Folk, and they do this, and you're like, what was I thinking? I was wrong this whole time stereotyping.
There's so many
like bands and stuff.
Instances of that, like a band or a guest blowing my mind or opening my mind to certain things, certain bands and ideas. And I, forever grateful for that. But yeah, like you're like the fiddle player is into metal music. Like, wait, what? That's
a lot of them are.
But yeah, because it's just music.
It's just music. You realize it doesn't define a person fully.
That's all it is. Like I like what I like,
and that's what I like about DZ Fest. Like having just every type of genre ever. Like this past year was going to be great. Hopefully we can do it again. But yeah, like just growing all these different genres and that band and this band and.
I grew up like when I was getting into music, like outside of like my my mom's car or whatever. Like when I was getting into music, the bands I was gravitating towards through my formative high school years, and just out of zero people liked these bands. So like I would always like want to turn a friend on to a certain band or whatever, and then be like, no, I don't like that. Like, no, get that away from me. And like after years and years and years of that, I started going inward with it, and it's like, okay, fine, these are my bands now. They're not your bands anymore. They're my bands. And so when I meet someone that is into, I don't know, like the Aquabats or the Pipettes or Tribe Called Quest, when these are bands that have followings and stuff, but I just might not have friends that are into certain of bands. But it's like when I find someone like that, I'm like, whoa, you like that too? There are other people out there? No way. That's not possible.
It's great when you find that. It's incredible. I've had that feeling with like random like obscure posters in the basement. Someone will be like, oh, the Swirlies. I'm like,
yeah.
You're the first, like a million people have been in this basement. You're the first person to say something. Like, I think I love you. And it's like, that's how it is with even the bands that come through. When another person's like, oh, I listen to so-and-so. I'm like, yeah, they're awesome. Like, I wish, like, I explained this on the podcast before, and like the only difference between the top tier musician and the musicians that come here is they just have a team behind them pushing them to be at the top of the pyramid. But like they're just as good. Yeah, like these musicians are amazing.
Like similar to that, I've always said, dude at work, Mike, we have like a funny music relationship, but like. Anything from Slayer to Judy Garland, like there's no difference. There, in my mind, there's zero difference between the song, the album "God Hates Us All" by Slayer, and the classic "Judy, Judy, Judy" live from Carnegie Hall. Like there is no difference between those two records. Zero difference.
They all come from the same place.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
They all come from the same place.
I've realized recently, or not recently, but kind of lately, that like certain hip hop is punk rock. Like, wait, how can hip hop be punk rock? But like what Public Enemy was doing in the early years, that's punk rock, man.
Mm-hmm.
Or their version of punk rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And that blew my mind having that thought. I'm still trying to form it, but it makes sense because they are bucking the establishment.
Yeah.
That's what punk rock is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. Do you know anything about the label Discord Records?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay. You're not going to follow up on this, but I want you to look into them because what they have
Prove me
done,
wrong.
what they have done and what you are doing, or what they do and what you do, they're very similar. I could go into the whole thing and explain it, but the punk rock police will come after me. So
I got you, Discord Records.
Discord Records. Just give it a quick Google search.
Speaking of plugging things, I want to plug this artwork real quick. Have you even looked at it yet?
No,
Matt?
I haven't looked.
I know
I
you've
caught
been
glimpses of the yellow.
I know you've been very like weird about it for
Man.
whatever reason.
This is literally my first look.
This artwork is really great, and I don't have the artist's last name. I think he's staying mostly anonymous online, but his first name is Michael, and his Instagram is
Are those Russian characters?
his
Or,
Instagram is m.a.s._studios studios Mass Studios.
Say it one more time.
Mass Studios by Michael. Human by day, artist boy, or artist by night. It's really cool stuff. He brought it over recently. Thank you, Michael, for bringing it. I'm trying to think of like the camera's here and this is here. I wish we can like find a way to get it closer, but it doesn't work with the setup. But
I wonder if there's a way, like, it would take some editing and stuff, but while we're talking about it, on the video side of this, can you just put a still, like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just have our voices over.
well, what I hope to
image.
do someday, when I got that extra cheddar, is have like a camera there pointing at that.
So
having a
cut?
camera there, getting me, so we can like cut.
Yeah.
Person, like when COVID's not a thing,
Yeah.
having a behind the scenes person just cut between the 4 cameras to go like. But
Yeah.
for now, it is what it is. The one camera, but
The middle one is my favorite.
Collage.
Art like this, yeah. Would you call it a collage?
it's
like,
a mixed media painting
Yeah.
collage. Yeah,
I like that the chaos in it, or
It's
my
cool.
interpretation.
That
sorry.
face, I just realized that's a face right there.
Where? Oh,
Right there. Yeah, that's really nice. You know, the artwork coming through and the people being generous enough to bring it, lend it to me. It's been
Yeah.
awesome and a lot of cool stuff.
That's
Learning
super
a lot,
cool.
seeing a lot of new art, meeting a lot of new people. It's giving us some sense of normalcy to like organize and put together like the guests on the podcast, the artists for the podcast, and all that. It's like
When you see art, not just like this, but in life, wherever, that you can do you have a deep, dark thought like, that's not really art. I can do that.
not necessarily.
Like if you see like what is it? Was it Jackson Pollock or whatever that would just like sneeze paint on a canvas? Like, come on.
It's complicated because I know exactly what you're saying, but there's more to it than that. And if you were doing the art, you would say that because like
Yeah.
when have you like made paintings and sold them?
Exactly never.
Exactly. So like I said that knowing like
Yeah.
it's a lot of people do that. They say I can make music, and it's like,
Yeah.
but have you? And are you like? Do you actually know what it is and what it's like to do it and express it? You know,
But to sneeze paint on a blank canvas?
not though. Sometimes there is method to it. There's a
Yeah.
thought to
I
it.
shouldn't
You also have to think
You're
time
right.
too.
You're
This
right.
is the 1950s. People weren't doing that, so it's like
yeah.
you got to think about
That's
what it was
true,
at the
too.
time.
In context.
It's hard
I take
now.
back
There's
my
a
previous statement.
No, it's okay. I mean, you're right to think that because a lot of people think that. Millions, billions of people feel that way and think it. It's why when you say you're an artist, people are just like, it took me up until 30 years old to be like, I'm an artist? Because
What?
I don't think I am. But
You've created art.
I know.
Yeah, you've created. Your life is an art.
I know, but
piece.
like, you understand my mindset. Like, think about how we grew up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Our parents.
Yeah.
Like, that was not, that was not the equation. Like, grandma, she painted. No one said she was an artist. They said grandma painted. Grandpa and grandma were really creative. They made a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Very creative people. But, we didn't say that they were this. Or, like, some of our uncles paint. But no one calls them an artist. You say, like, oh, they do this. And then, like, oh, yeah, they paint on the side. They draw. They do watercolor.
I
You know?
think my dad can.
Your dad is an artist
But like,
with his woodworking.
yeah, that's art. But my wife paints. She has legit skill that she never uses.
She's gonna sell artwork at DZ Fest next year. What?
No, because that
Wow.
would like actually require her to like create the paintings. She just won't.
Sounds
do
like I have to bug her. My favorite thing about bugging people
it.
about
She
art.
hates when I bring it up though.
Well, it's my favorite thing to do because they can't get mad at you because you're doing good things.
Yeah,
you're
that's what
saying
I'm
nice
saying.
things.
That's what
you're
I'm
helping. You're promoting. Like at the end of the day, it's like when you bug people about like diet and exercise. Like you can get mad at me because
Yeah.
I'm telling you something that's true
Yeah.
because I'm right.
Yeah,
it's like come on now.
exactly,
It's the same thing
exactly.
about art. It's the same thing about work. It's the same thing about saving money. Like you get mad at hearing it because you know you're messing up and the other person's right. Like that's
Yeah.
what makes you mad.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that they're trying to belittle you or be above you, a boss you're on. Like that's not what's bothering you. What's bothering you is they're right, and you're like, crap. You don't want to admit it. Your adult brain can't digress and admit, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I should make more art. I am. If enough people say it, it must be true. And that's where I said the artist thing. I couldn't call myself that, but I would hear it so often. I'm like, all right, if people are saying it, I have to accept it. Like, it is
Yeah.
what it is. It's the same thing with like the branding thing. I'm like, to me, I'm like, that sounds so corporate. I'm like, I don't understand.
That
I don't get brand.
So that was probably my least favorite part of the podcast.
Yeah.
It is soul crushing.
It's soul crushing.
But you know what though? Anytime anyone says I hate social media, but like we all got it.
We all got it.
We're all on it.
We need to-
How
you got-
many times have we checked it? You know what I mean? Like we all
A million times already. It's only what 10:30. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know all the time.
We all. So it's like
You got to learn. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
Or maybe not the job, the lifestyle. It's part of what you're doing. If I didn't have the podcast and the DZ and the fest and all that stuff, I would love to not be on it. I would
Yeah.
love to just
yeah.
work and just live life.
Do you yeah, the avocados. Have you ever seen those videos that
you
I
made?
posted?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Do you have this is kind of weird, but do you have strong opinions about that?
No, I know you, so it's different. Like, I understand your humor and I understand your obsession with avocado. I understand your tattoo. Also, I'm obsessed with avocado. I have it like twice a day, every day. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a day I don't have avocado.
Yeah.
It is one of the best foods nature has ever naturally produced.
It's a blessing.
It's got so many good things in it.
I've had people interpret that weirdly, and I've had people say, and you know who you are out there if you're listening, like, what is your thing about avocado? What is your fetish? What are you like mashing your dick in the avocado? And I'm like, no, you're bringing your own baggage to this. It is not sexual.
Yeah.
I do not want to bang an avocado. Like they're like, dude, it's so gross. It's so sexual. Like, how is like?
It's great.
It's
That's the best
so-
part about the internet.
But I've had multiple people say that.
oh yeah.
Which is like, and not just random people, like friends, people I've known forever. Like, and I'm like, could not have been farther away from the intention. There is no intention to it. It's just like sometimes when you open an avocado, sometimes it's brown. You think you got it, but you don't. You know,
Yeah.
and it's fun. But yeah, I don't get.
I'm not one to say
So I'm
anything
glad you
or
say
judge
that.
anybody.
Yeah, I'm
like,
glad you say
who am I really to be like, what are you doing? You're weird. And it's like, come on now.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I thrive on the coarse, abrasive, going against the grain of everything.
Yeah,
And by everything, I literally mean like everything.
yeah,
Like I want to make a difference in law and art and community,
like legalizing.
but without actually doing it. Like, I don't want to be a politician.
Yeah.
I want to do it without doing any of the traditional paths because they don't work.
Yeah.
Like, the traditional paths
So
are broken.
That episode of legalizing all the drugs and all that, my brain bent.
You listen to it?
Oh God, yeah, I listened to it. I've listened to every single minute of your podcast, except there's a couple minutes I skipped. Can you guess which minutes I just literally held the fast forward button for a couple?
I know, I can't.
When you were talking gear with the one dude, I just don't care about guitar gear and stuff.
Oh, it was with Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just nothing. I mean, it was a great interview. I loved his interview. I even personal messaged him about a specific thing that he talked about. Legalizing the because when you hear that, your immediate thought is like, no, that's absurd. Why would you
It is,
ever?
yeah.
But then once you hear the arguments for it, so a million years ago in high school, I in government class, we were asked to come up with 3 bills that we need to pass, and like the class was gonna vote, to pass the bill or not. You know what I mean? Like we're playing government. You know what I mean? And so the three I came up with were to outlaw shoes, just straight up outlaw shoes. My argument was like, hey man, give it a couple generations, we won't need shoes. Our feet will just build up calluses, we'll start growing hair, we'll be fine. Hobbit feet, basically. Third was dentists. I said 18 at the time, but I think more should be like 25. When you turn 25, you literally, every American or whoever has to go through oral surgery to get rid of all your teeth and fake ones that'll never break, never rust, never decay, never get implanted. So we all get like veneers or whatever. So everyone gets perfect teeth at the age of 25. At the time I said 18, but now I'm amending it a little bit. Tell me that's not genius.
That is a terrible idea. You want to know why?
Tell me why.
I would
Mr.
say,
Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
you have the floor.
I would say that if you believe in science and evolution and biology, that millions of years of what works best, which is how we got here, is much better than whatever we came up in the last 100 years.
Yes.
By a lot. It is so much better that it is literally designed in every way, shape, or form. It's so much better than if you don't take care of them, it can kill you. You can get an infection. That's how important and good these things are. They're so good that when you don't do something right, like with your body, our body's designed to do so well with nature and to live.
But that comes with, and I'm not against this, but that comes with hard work.
It comes with dedication.
And dedication.
Well, it comes with not having sugar.
I don't want to stray too far from the point.
Okay.
It would only benefit humanity.
Okay.
Speaking as a person who's gone through many root canals and has a chipped front tooth and has, I brush my teeth, but my teeth are failing me. And I don't like it. But anyways, but the third bill, the big one, this was the big one. The first two, the big one, was to legalize heroin. And this was when I was in high school, 2003. So, this was...
What was your reasoning behind that back then?
Well, here's what I did. I had a giant bag of chocolate-covered raisins from a certain job that I used to work. And
By the way.
And I went to every person who was voting on this bill and told them, you can have as many chocolate-covered raisins if you want if you vote yes on my bill, before even telling them what it was.
Man, you're just like the people in Washington.
And all the people that took the raisins, they all voted yes blindly. I think I passed 18-3. And I proved that the system works. I think my only argument was legalize heroin. Let's vote. And I want to say the teacher was like, "Whoa, wait, what?"
Yeah.
And then when all the yays went up, he was just like, "Wait, what?" And then he saw the big bag and the bribe. So
it's the way it goes. But
it's one of those things like global warming. We can fix it. Boom. Here's how you do it. You can say it, but in practice, it's impossible. You can't legalize every drug in practice. It's just impossible. It would take the teeth and the feet. It would take so many generations of instilling that, generations upon generation upon generation, because we've gone how many hundreds of years knowing or thinking that these things are bad and wrong.
Well, it's actually very recent. 1970 was an act that went through that made marijuana, mushrooms, LSD, a bunch of psychoactive drugs felonies.
Yeah,
so it's only 50 years.
But I mean, the effects of these drugs, overdosing and all that, that's been going on for.
But that's a byproduct of ignorance and not being aware of the whole scope of it.
Correct. And how do you correct ignorance in America? You can't. Ignorance runs on
slow process.
Or America runs on ignorance.
Well, you're going to definitely upset people. Prohibition, 1920, 1933, did not work at all, and it hurt a lot of people, killed a lot of people, created organized crime, created a power vacuum. People like to drink. People like to smoke weed. We've realized over time, marijuana is not nearly.
I was pro-prohibition, the only person in this world that's like.
But it doesn't
I
work.
See that? No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I'm
People are going to do what they want anyway.
I'm being a brat right now.
So many things are illegal, and you do them anyway. It's illegal to speed. Everybody speeds. It's illegal to do X, Y, and Z. Everyone does it. It's illegal as a kid to be out past curfew.
Yeah.
Everybody was out past curfew.
Yeah, but can you recognize that some of these laws are in place for the benefit of humanity?
Yeah, but these ones are not because they only hurt. We know people who have died from these drugs. Making them illegal just puts people in prison, and it just kills people without them having a chance to have a better.
When you guys
access
talked
to
about it, I don't know if anyone brought this up though, and I'm going to try and bring it out. Well, think of all the lives that were saved by having these drugs illegal. You know what I mean? Like if a kid is at a fork, the left side is do this drug and potentially go down that spiral, or don't do this drug and live a certain life. And the thing that swayed that person was, oh, that's illegal. I can't do that. Let me go this way. There's so many, like, there's no statistic on that. There's plenty of death statistics and all that. But you know what I mean? Like, how do you quantify that? You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's a great
Does
point.
that outweigh what legalizing it?
So
you know
I
what
think
mean?
that mindset only exists in the world where that's legal, that's not. So you can't think any other way. So if that wasn't part of the equation, there's new numbers for the equation. And the new numbers are, the new pathway is, it's legal, but in order for me to get it, I have to go to the store at over the age of 21.
Yeah.
I have to sit there in front of the doctor.
Because that works for alcohol so well.
What?
Having like
Right. But it's the same thing because they're going to get it anyway. But it's just not the black. How about this? All right, I know exactly.
you're
what saying,
eliminating the dangers of the black market.
which is where the dangers really are. So you
Yeah.
wouldn't do those drugs if they were legal.
If they were legal,
If they were legal, you wouldn't do them.
I'm a different.
You're not though. There's millions of people just like you and me who you wouldn't do them just because
No.
they're legal. Alcohol's legal. You're not drinking.
I mean, I do cupcakes.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
I know what you're saying. I'm
so
trying to. Yeah, I know. What
If
you're
it's legal,
Oh, and then that BS you gave me about Tonga, like a country the size of a quarter is going to be your case study for legalizing
Portugal?
Portugal, whatever.
Portugal.
I don't know, but
you got to start somewhere. There's still millions of people.
America is like
I know America's a melting
America
pot.
is like turning the Titanic.
I know.
Portugal is a speedboat.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's a rowboat.
Like yeah, like
It's a single person. I get it, but you got to start somewhere. It's not to try to pick a bad example. It's the only example. What are you going to do?
And I'm not against this. I'm just trying to.
It's good. You
yeah.
need to hear thoughts from all directions when doing something that serious, because it is serious, but the results are huge. These drugs, the sugar, the bad things out there, the things that are not really good for people's health, they're there anyway. Mm-hmm. So whether it's legal or not, people will find a way to do it, find a way to get it.
If you were to legalize all drugs but outlaw sugar, oh man,
I would love that.
right?
Sugar is the worst drug of all.
Benjamin. So how I was saying, like I'm the most unhealthy, like that. Because I'm sober, like I don't like saying that like out loud. It just sounds weird because it makes it sound like I've been through some stuff, but I haven't. I just don't drink.
You never drank or did drugs.
But it's like, but like sugar, like
So
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
did you try that
itch.
chocolate?
I mean,
Try it.
is there? But this isn't sugar though, right?
There's no sugar in it. No,
So
it's
it's
100%
like- so I'm not
pure
gonna like it 'cause it's not
dark
sugar.
chocolate. No, probably not. It's quite bitter.
Can I have this?
It's very bitter. Maybe try a smaller piece.
Smaller piece. Can I bite it?
I mean, you could just break it.
I could break it.
Yeah. It's very, very,
I love the smell.
it's great. It's from Colombia. It's from the source. The packaging is actually quite cool.
So what was I gonna say? I don't remember. So you talk a lot about drugs and that. I want to put this somewhere safe. We're safe.
It's fine. On the bid.
So you talk a lot about drugs and stuff on this, and I don't do that stuff. But like, what was I gonna say? I had something. I keep losing it. Oh, so what I was gonna say, not a day goes by where I don't mandatorily have to remind myself not to drink or do drugs. Like I have to. It's not ritualized where I like wake up and say something, but like I need to. Oh wow, I need to always remind myself that I cannot do these things, that I must not do these things. And it's what was I gonna say? This is distracting me. Sorry, the notes. I'm out of here.
I didn't
I'm
say
out of
anything.
here.
I didn't say anything.
Benjamin.
Fascinating flavor, huh?
Yeah, like that's not chocolate. Like,
It is, though.
That's not chocolate.
It's
you
funny
know what I
because
mean?
that is pure chocolate. That's
It's
what
so
chocolate
crazy.
is. That's what people were. Lots of things were fought because of that. People were enslaved because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like chocolate is just like sugarcane. People were enslaved for.
That documentary on Netflix. There's one on avocados too, about like the cartels and stuff in Mexico, just based around avocados. But anyways, you shouldn't chew or snap on mic like that. Oh my god, I keep losing it. The addiction. Like I know I have it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But my question to you is like, am I missing out? Like it's one of those things where it's like, how can you say you don't like this band if you've never heard any of their songs? You know what I mean? What if
Yeah.
I'm missing out on the Beatles right now by not drinking? You know what I mean?
But my answer, I feel like I have a decent place to come from to say this because I didn't drink for a long time and I don't drink that much now.
I can, on less than 5 fingers, I can tell you the amount of times alcohol has touched my tongue. And that's literally all it's been.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah, I've never seen you. Never
Yeah.
seen you drink, smoke, none of it. You're not missing out on anything. It doesn't make you a better or worse person. If you know at your core who you are, well, it works for you, then it's fine. But if you also know that like you feel like you have some type of tendency to possibly might like it too much and it can be a problem, then don't do it. Because it can be a problem.
But that's what I'm saying with the reminder. If I'm in a situation, I know I've missed out on stuff, and that's the thing. It's like, what am I missing? Like I see these people having
You're
fun,
not, though.
and
You're not
I'm
missing out. You know why? You want to know why you're not missing out? Because you remember everything. And you're present.
Yeah, yes, I'm
I
grateful
can
for that,
relate
but
to
I'm
that.
also like that also tortures me.
It's
Like,
okay then.
it
Then why not?
sucks.
Like if you're an adult, if you're curious,
No.
okay, then don't. There's no like. It's the same thing I said
But
about mushrooms. I'm not a preacher for it. If you want to do it, do it.
burns in me though. Like I can't explain it. Like it burns in me.
I think about it,
The
you know?
the what's it called? Like the
Urge.
urge. Yes.
If if you've never really had it, and it burns in you, then it might just be out of curiosity. It might not be because you're an addict. It might just be like you're just so darn curious.
I'm convinced I'm an addict.
You wouldn't know. You would only know if you actually were and like did it and went through it. It's impossible to say.
Yeah.
It could just be you're a curious person, and it could just be your curious mind, just wanting to know.
It might be in the genes.
Definitely in genes.
You know?
I mean, our grandfather. I can't speak for your mom's side, but our grandfather that we're blood from was an alcoholic. I know my dad had his issues before my time. I've heard stories, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I've seen it amongst family members, and I've seen it amongst friends, and that's what keeps me balanced. Like knowing, like I like to enjoy drink. I like to sit down, have a meal, have scotch, have whiskey, and just relax, sip on it. I don't do shots. I don't party. I just relax and take it for what it is. And I know if I did 2 days in a row, okay, I'm not going to do it for a week or two. Like I have to have that separation. I'm always self-aware because I really like it. Like I like the taste of alcohol.
Yeah.
I like wine with a steak. I like, a beer when you're hanging out with your friends and watching a movie or the Super Bowl or in barbecuing outside.
Yeah.
So I have to be very aware of it because I do like it, but I need to separate it. And also the health element of it. Like it's terrible for your body if you're trying to stay healthy, trying to not be larger. It's empty calories. It's not productive for you.
That's how I've kept this figure.
But the mind, though, is it good for the mind because of what it helps you to disassociate, not in a I'm running away. It depends on your mindset. My mindset is, excuse me, it helped me to disassociate, but not in a negative way or a scary way or concerning way, but in a just different way.
Yeah.
Another way of having this existence. That's what marijuana does for me. That's what mushrooms do. That's what alcohol does. I'm not saying anybody should do any of those things or they're better or worse than the next. It's just for me in those moments when I do them, it's just another pathway looking forward and then going back on and just going off and going back on. And it doesn't dictate who I am.
When I hear someone say like going on a trip of some sort and they say how it is, I don't know if it's just like condescending or whatever, but in my head I'm like, no, like that's not real life. Like I don't buy it. I've never experienced it, so I have zero like leg to stand on. But it's like I don't understand it, and I don't like I've never.
I'll try to explain it to you, knowing you, and without sounding all weird and hippy dippy voodoo-y. So the best way to explain it is neurologically. You have your synapses firing, right? And you have things going on in your brain, and your chemistry has this balance to it, especially because you're always sober. So you have like this really honed in balance, and you're adult. Your frontal cortex completely done developing. You are who you are, right? You take something like mushrooms, a psychedelic that strong, specifically like an eighth of it, which would be like a full trip, a full dose. The pathways that are firing start to fire in a different way. So what is real to you now is just as real then when you're on them and when you're not, because all it's changing is the pathways in which your brain is working. And what it's doing is the understanding of the way that your consciousness is interfacing with this existence is something that's manifested over 35 years. When you take something like that type of drug that makes you hallucinate or feel things differently, what's going on is it seems to be lifting up the veils of stuff that's already there, and they get highly pronounced, over enunciated, and just highlighted. But they're still there. It's still real. So like the geometric shapes that are part of the molecules and the fabric of what keeps these carbon-based objects together, you're aware they're there in practice through science, but the drug brings that information you have and actually shows you it in reality. It's what happens with your dreaming. It's what happens when you're daydreaming. These weird things you can kind of manifest. Imagine like seeing it. So all it's doing for me personally is just like a whole nother way of seeing things. And it's helped a lot, because it breaks down these things you have, the guards you put up, the things you're afraid of, the things you're not afraid of, these safeguards you put up. It helps you to just kind of like hurtle over them to the scary place, see, what the Germans have going on the front, and then hop right back. And that's like, it sounds so, it's weird to explain until I never knew. I did it at 28. So I went the first 28 years, no psychedelics. I did it at 28. It was very profound. I loved it. I went into
controlled environment.
It was here, yeah. Controlled environment with some friends listening to music. It was an amazing experience. Yeah. And I've done it consistently ever since, and I'm going to do it forever.
See, and that's the thing. Like, I crave that unwind. I can't unwind.
It's not even unwinding.
But
unwinding is like alcohol. Like, this isn't like, mushrooms are not like that. Like, you just take the mushrooms and you go outside. You can, okay, so I took them once and I was at a private beach in Michigan. And I was laying on the water. And I felt the actual gravitational pull of the moon and the sun and Jupiter pulling Lake Michigan. And I felt like I was laying on a contact lens on an eyeball, moving. I felt the earth move underneath me in the water, and I was at one with it.
Yeah.
Something you can try to imagine and feel while you're sober. But this actually, but the thing is, it's really what's going on. That's actually happening. It's so subtle. And you're so used to it because it is what is your existence. It's why you're on the ground right now. When you drive, you stay down. And when you fly, you have to go a certain speed with enough air pressure to have lift. Like those things, but if you know the science and you're aware of it, it's actually happening when you take mushrooms. You actually feel those things because all the safeguards you put up, they kind of go away. They go away. So you don't think about that. You're thinking about what's in the moment.
Is it a control thing? Like would it be considered I'm a control freak because I want to be in control of my reality?
It's a control
because I don't identify as a control freak.
One wouldn't if you always
so
were in
far
control.
into it. Yeah.
thing is, I like being in control of stuff too, but I also like having that balance
That's
of just
what I was
like letting
gonna
it
ask.
go.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very controlling person. I mean, to do the thing that I do, like I have to be scheduled and on top of it. So like to get away from it, to go away for a weekend and just take mushrooms and just relax.
I just go back to the base. Like, I can't buy Hostess cupcakes because I won't just eat one. I'll eat all 8 of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's probably very wrong, but I take that mindset and be like, I can't just have one joint. I need to have them all. Or I
But you
can't just have
can,
one
though.
sip. I need to have.
You can though.
I don't think I can.
You're doing it right now. You have balance. You have structure. You have the wherewithal to think about it, to even know that that's even a thing. Like some people who
That might
have
get in the way
addictions
of my good
don't
time,
know
though.
about it. You might get in the way of what?
My good time. My own mind. I like.
Listen, I'm not do it or don't. There's nothing wrong with not doing it. There's nothing wrong with being sober your whole life. You might. There's an interesting argument. So like people who are sober their whole life, one would think they're probably going to live longer and have a more longevity because there's nothing interfering with their chemistry. But there's also
stress.
there's a thought that they have higher stress because they're never detaching in any way.
What did you text me yesterday? What did you call me via text? Grumpy.
I did.
Yeah.
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 But that's how we talk.
But that comes from something. I'm
Yeah.
a grump.
Yeah, but it's like, you know what I'm saying though? Like that glass of wine on Friday night when you worked all week, when you did your adult duties, you did nothing wrong. You took your child to daycare every day. You hugged your wife. You made dinner. You did everything you're supposed to do.
But
that glass can, when you hang out with a friend, it can bring you, it could tame you a little bit and like calm you and actually be good for your stress, be good for your anxiety.
that's where it'll start. Where it'll end will be me, half naked and face down in the snow with a bottle of
Possibly your first time since
Colt
you never got
45.
hammered. So the first hammered is always a who knows what's going to happen.
my 8th grade graduation. Myself and a cousin took a warm Budweiser can. We snuck it up to my room like earlier in the day, just like hid it under some pillows or whatever, and like went back to it at night. Like once the party died down, so we're like, all right, because he was spending the night, and so we're like, literally a warm Budweiser. We popped it open. He took a sip, and I took a sip. I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. It was the first time it had ever. And it was the worst thing in the world.
It's not good when you're 14 and it's warm.
It made no sense.
No, it's not good.
And then my brother was having a party probably the next year or whatever. I remember early high school. My mom was out of town. He was having a party. And there was like some red shot or whatever. And I like sipped it. And it didn't. And then some people put vodka in my cherry Coke that I didn't know. And I'm not friends with those people anymore. But I was drinking the cherry Coke. And I don't know if it's just revisionist history, but I remember thinking something was off.
You probably could tell.
But they were like laughing. And then it was, I maybe drank like that much, like half a cup or whatever. And then they said so, and then they said what they did, and it was not cool.
That's not cool.
Not cool at all on so many levels.
I mean,
cool.
it's normalized as alcohol is in our society. That's drugging somebody.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Yeah. And they knew.
Especially when someone it's not like I drink, right? So if someone did that now, I'd be like, well, I wasn't meaning to drink, but I wouldn't take it as person. But if I don't drink, like that's not my thing.
It was
well
did it
anyway.
Established. It was well established.
That's not a cool thing to do.
And I want to say, I think that was it. I think that's the extent. Like a cigarette's never touched my lips. But I wonder if you have, your parents never smoked, did they?
My mom did. But I was not when I was alive.
When you
before
smell
I was alive.
cigarette smoke, does part of you think like, I'm at home?
No, I hate cigarettes. I hate them.
I hate them too, but there's a part of
mom
me
and dad, though.
that I remember brown, and I remember the 80s, because everything in the 80s in my mind was brown.
It was brown and orange and yellow.
And part of me is like, I smell home. It's weird. It's really weird.
It's familiar with. I know many people whose parents smoked, and like it's kind of like endearing to them. They grew up with it. Same thing with
it's
alcohol.
really weird.
Alcohol's the same thing. I didn't grow up with smoking or alcohol here at all. Like, I didn't know it was a thing. Had no idea that that's what people did until I was much older. Much, much older. I'm grateful for it. It's very clean and honest and present. Like, people were present here. Like, my mom and dad were present for me.
Yeah.
They weren't hungover. Like, the reason why they were able to get up at 8 in the morning on a Saturday and go see my basketball games because they weren't hungover. You know, like
I think too. There's I'm no doubt in my mind. There's childhood stuff that's like you saying present. Some people in my life as a child were not very present, and how do you deal with that as a 6, 7, 8-year-old or whatever? You know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it could be a reason why you never want to drink because you want to be present always. It's not a bad thing.
I think what it boils down to is fear. My entire life is just fear. I've done everything. Every decision I've ever made is fear based.
Yeah, but like starting the podcast and like
Fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of not doing something.
I would say it was very fearless of you to take that endeavor on at your age with no and coming here to film and being part of the shows and the fest and all that without knowing any outcome that was going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form. I think that took be fearless, took courage. It's not easy to do, especially when you have people in your life, friends, family, whoever on the other end that I'm not seeing that are like, what are you doing? Like, what's this? What's that? And you're still like pushing that down, like, no, I'm going to do it anyway because I don't have the fear for that.
That's mighty kind of you. Do you know, you don't have to say, but do you know like the numbers on this podcast, like listener wise and stuff?
It depends, like YouTube versus the streaming or all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can look at the analytics. I look at the analytics of my YouTube channel.
Does it bum you out?
I don't. I try not to think about it. I look at it just to know I'm a numbers person. I can't help it. But every time I look at a number, what I do is I go, that's one person who's wanting to listen to me or my guest or be a part of the situation. So even if it's collectively, a couple thousand at this point in the last 2 months, that's a couple thousand times someone want to listen to me. Or like the big thing, which it's big, but it's not. It's small, but it's large. It means a lot, but it doesn't. Is the Easy Records YouTube channel will be. I haven't talked about this, but I guess I'll just say now. It should be hitting 1 million views, maybe like this month.
Wow. Yeah.
And like, I see videos daily that have millions of views.
Yeah.
Just one video.
Yeah.
10 million views. 100 million views.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's so much more. Like my whole channel, like 1,300 videos, 8 years, 1 million views. But then I go, wait a minute, that's 1 million times someone looked. 1 million times someone looked at something that I had my hands on, like that I helped make. Whether it was someone else's music, like I did something. I uploaded all those videos that have 1 million views. Like I made them, and they were in my basement, So it's like, or in my backyard, or on location, or at a fest. So I try not to like get worried about it. Hey, it's like it's not a huge number, but it's a big number.
I know it shouldn't have, but it would trip me out for Friends of Music, like seeing the numbers. And I would probably check them like once a month or whatever. But I remember seeing like there were 4 listens in Angola, and I would always kept that in my head, like they were probably bots. I'm sure it wasn't real because
you never know, man. There's
4 people in Angola. Listen,
you never know. 7.8 billion. Like the chances of people hearing in other countries are high.
Yeah,
and you never know. And the only way to know is just to keep doing it.
Yeah.
The videos we first uploaded, there was just like 10 views, 50 views, 1 view, 3 views, and again, like to see it to accumulate to 1 million for now, and those numbers just grow faster. The next million is not going to take 8 years.
Yeah.
I have no idea how long it'll take, but I know it ain't gonna take 8 years. So it's like I just try not to think about it, but it's a cool thing to know. Like, hey, who cares what the numbers? If someone has something to say about it, you're doing it. You have that much more people looking at it than someone who's not doing it or who's giving you crap. It's like, who cares? Like, try not to think about it.
During the Friends of Music time, there was an episode that got 1 listen. And it was one that I forget which one it was, but I just remember thinking, like, just 1 listen. And I posted on Instagram or whatever, like, all it takes is 1 person, right? And just, like, thinking, like why am I doing this? You know what I mean? It was a low point,
Mm-hmm.
but and it eventually got more. But at the time, it's like this should have more than one listens. We did some good stuff, and they deserved
I mean,
more
you
listens.
can't look at it that way. It's
No, I know.
it's like this is a lot of work, and it's
What's
time,
the future of this podcast? Where do you want to go?
Just right here, you're looking at it. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people. COVID isn't helping.
No.
I would be able to have. Well, I want to just do one a week anyway. So, but
Mm-hmm.
I will have many type of. I mean, where it came from was DZ Records, Friends of Music, DZ Fest, this house, like what we brought up earlier, like talking and meeting people. I have been fortunate enough, whether it's my doing or someone else's or the universe is doing, to meet a lot of people. A lot of fascinating people. And I talk
Every
to a lot of
episode
people.
is a banger, Benjamin.
Yeah?
Every episode I've enjoyed thoroughly.
Thank you.
I wanted more information from Rob the Builder, though.
I tried. He had a short time here.
I miss Rob.
I tried.
And his volume.
I try to get as much out of people. I would go 5 hours if people felt comfortable doing that. That's how my SD card's got 5 hours and 13 minutes on it. So,
But Joe, as episode 1, I mean, does
set
it
the
get
bar
any
high.
better? Oh my God, so good.
I love Joe Schruda.
What was the last live show you saw? Not that wasn't like
The one that I didn't play at Cole's, which was March 7th, 2020, was the end of February 23rd, 24th of Rat Boys, Advanced Bass,
Oh,
and
that's right,
Slow
you said
Mass
that.
at
You
Lincoln
said that,
Hall.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a really good show. It was the last show I went to, and the last one I played was in March.
last show we went to was the Boogers at the Bee Kitchen. They're like a kid punk band, and it was amazing.
Did,
Hugo loved it?
Hugo
he
went?
loved it.
That's awesome.
Absolutely loved it.
Did he wear his hearing protection?
He had headphones on.
Good.
You
You know about my brother, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
That's all I'm going to say then.
Is that amazing?
It's crazy. I feel like
It's amazing.
I'm like, man, I'm so glad I get to be the cool uncle and not the dad.
Oh man.
Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that because that's their thing.
But very excited.
it's cool.
and-
It's
yeah.
kids freak me out, but I like want
should.
kids. But I know, like, I'm glad to be 31 and not have kids because it's given me a lot of time to like look at it, think about it. I learned a lot from my parents. I didn't want to have kids until I was set financially, mentally. I don't want resentments. I didn't get to do this because of you.
Yeah.
Um,
That's an impossible.
But to lower them, I want to lower the resentment. I'm going to have resentment. I want to not have it be at a 10. I want to be at like a 3, you know?
Yeah.
Something I can like cope with and deal with. But like little things like I want to have less bills. I want to have more of a saving. Like these things that I didn't have as a kid. I don't want to sit there like trying too hard to think about it.
My version of like a drug trip mind explosion was having a child because
I can't imagine.
I mean
it's a game changer.
like life in a way makes so much sense, but at the same time means nothing. Like how many times have you heard like, oh, we're just a speck of dust, blah blah blah. It's so true though. You know what I mean? Like by having a kid, I've faced my own mortality, and I'm so much more okay with it than I was before. Not that I'm like, if I die tomorrow, I'm fine, but like I used to not want to die. Now I'm like, I get it. I did what I needed to do. I fulfilled my human, duties, and everything now is all about this. You know what I mean? And it is so like. When's the last time you cried?
I cried.
You don't have to say like why or you
No,
could
no.
just give me like 3
cry.
weeks
I
ago.
cry enough.
Yeah.
I think I cried probably.
You an often like semi-often crier?
Sometimes I'll just be walking and tears are just coming out of my eyes.
And it happens?
Yeah, I don't even know why. I'm like, is it cold?
Man.
Is it the wet? I don't know what it is. I think the last time I cried, I almost cried. I actually had to hold back a little bit when RJ Collins was on.
Oh,
And he was talking about his brother.
Okay, yeah.
And he was talking about like having the gun
Heavy
pointed
stuff,
at him
yeah.
and like changing his life because of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking, I went to when I was 15, building the DZ and just, burning stuff in the backyard and just being
Yeah.
a stupid kid.
Yeah.
And then like he's 15, like guns pointed at him, people around him dying. And I'm just like, it broke my heart. I'm like, it just keeps reinforcing like the inequality,
Yeah.
like between kids and color of your skin,
Yeah.
and gender. So
Yeah.
that made me quite sad. But yeah, well, anyway, back to what you're saying.
I feel like I am like on the brink of just crying at every like a sunrise. My son laughs. A commercial on TV that just gets you the right way. Like because of him, I was never like that, but because of him, I'm so much more sensitive to these things. I think we've talked about it before.
The
But
Game
like
of Thrones ending. Yeah, I knew
can't.
you were going there.
But it's more than just Game of Thrones. It's other movies too, news stories. I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. If there in Peaky Blinders, there's a moment with a child, and it like I was almost just done.
So
Like, I
you're
was
not
just
going to watch
walked out.
Schindler's List anytime soon?
No.
When those kids are hiding in the
No.
outhouse?
Like if two characters are having an argument while a child is in the same room, that
Did you watch A Marriage
messes
Story
with me.
on Netflix?
No. ScarJo and
Adam Driver.
girls. Yeah, no.
It's rough.
Um,
It's good though.
no. But like, but yeah. Like I'm on the brink. Any moment now, like it's gonna happen. I should just let it. I don't think I'm fully resisting it, but it's like life just expands and just it means so much and nothing at the same time.
What do you think is going on with parents and adults who might not be feeling that, and how I can't generalize, but maybe they're not feeling that because of what they're doing in life?
That breaks my heart too when I see a parent not caring about their child.
Mm-hmm.
It's why.
Well,
How?
you see it in moms. Like moms
In
are
a mom?
in a good way. Moms are crazy when they're like being motherly and they see a mom not do. They get so mad. It's this type of animalistic thing
Yeah.
you see. Like dads have it, but not quite the same because we're not growing this thing in our stomach and breastfeeding it. And we don't have that connection with it.
I've seen it like in little things, like picking up my son from daycare. Every now and again, you'll run into other parents and kids, and if a kid is walking with their parent and their parent's on their phone, and the kid's like, "Dad, I did this," and the dad's like, "Yeah, that's cool. Get in the car." That is like, I want to slap that dude and be like, "Listen, your child is proud of what they did. You need to give them." I told Sherry, like, we made a vow, we will not be the parent on the phone when picking up the kid.
Mm-hmm.
We will not be the parent in pajama pants while picking up their kid.
Mm-hmm.
That is not our lives. We are not those people. Everything, and I'm not an umbrella parent. I'm not like, I know my son has faults and I know he's not the greatest gift to, he's not Simba. Like, I know that. But like, when he is proud because he knows what the letter B is, there's nothing in this life that is better than that. There is no drug, there is no orgasm, there is no food, there is nothing in this life that is better than my son knowing that blue and bee and boat, there's nothing better than that. You know what I mean? It's you cannot explain it. It's impossible.
It's amazing that feeling parallels like what an orgasm is trying to mimic. Like seriously, like what created them is an orgasm.
Yeah.
And that's why we have them as an incentive to do that, to keep propagating.
So my friend Julian, Canadian, when the Mojo stayed with us in Berwyn, Julian, this was before Sherry was pregnant, before, you know what I mean, all that back when I lived that life. And the four dudes, they were staying in our house.
Stuff.
In our apartment.
That video, by the way, of the show down here when they played like that 13-minute, like, it's one of the coolest videos
It's
ever.
the best.
It is
It's
insane.
still the best. Yeah.
It's the saxophone, and they had like a call and response.
The back and forth is so good.
Like, back to being drunk. Once in a while when I'm drunk with my friends, we put that on. And we're just like, that happened in my basement. These guys from Montreal came and killed it. And it was so crazy.
Oh, man.
And they're so good.
Because of that, I love those guys and I hate them so much
so
because they
wild.
need to be doing this still and they're not. But anyways,
Okay, back to your saying.
So he was in a new relationship at the time and was away from the partner. Staying in a strange house, missing female companionship. one day while taking a shower in my tub, he relieved himself of certain primal urges. Okay. And then, however long it was later, Sherry got pregnant, and we went that route and had a child, blah, blah, blah. So when we told Julian that Sherry was pregnant, we told him that she took a bath that same day that he relieved himself of these certain, and that it was his child.
That's
And
great.
to this day, he's still known as Papa Jew.
That's so funny.
Because, and yeah, so that's just a little inside joke that we have with him. But where was I going with that? I don't remember. But yeah, he's not my child. He's African.
It's funny because Hugo looks so much like you.
It's scary, man.
It's crazy.
It's scary. He had his first dentist appointment yesterday.
Nice.
And just that, knowing that he was a good boy for it, and that he was excited.
Did he get
and
the
that he
bubble
was
gum?
stoked. I don't know, actually.
That was my favorite
Yeah, the
fluoride.
bubble gum.
Bubble gum.
But he got like a Transformers toothbrush and like,
That's cool.
oh man. And so he loves music. And I know you harp on me about get him in the music. But the drums though are what he gravitates towards. And
Get him started now.
I
He'll be a
gotta get him.
prodigy.
It's so hard because like I try to like, hey, bud, let's learn, let's teach, let's but he doesn't listen to me. But I feel like if he got outside a teacher or whomever to, you know what I mean? Because kids don't listen to their parents; they listen to other people. So I got to get him into that. Does Joe?
4.
Does Joe do that or no?
Joe Shrita?
Yeah,
Drums?
yeah.
I don't know if he does drums, but
Rossi definitely that
he
young.
knows somebody that probably does drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a great time to start teaching someone is 3 to 5 if you like really want them to get that like the fundamentals. And I'll tell you this. So I'm just gonna spew numbers. I'm not trying to be pompous, but 10,000 people have gone in that basement, right? Musicians. Who knows? Something like that.
You know the exact.
It's a
number. Come
lot.
on, Ben.
It's a crap ton.
Okay.
The best I've ever heard. I picked their brain. They might not even know I'm doing it. The best I've ever heard. I know who they are.
Can I guess something really quick?
Sure.
They played violin at 3 years old.
They usually started playing piano or violin or both, 3 to 5 years old. Every single time I hear them, or if they play guitar, they started playing at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Every time I hear, I can just tell. I play music too, so I just know when something is like beyond good and normal. The fluent abilities, the timing, the pitch.
I might have to take that because she's at work and she shouldn't be calling me.
Take it online, dude.
I gotta go pee too.
Go pee.
I'm
I'll
so
keep
sorry.
talking.
I'm so
Go
sorry.
pee and take it, and I'll just keep ranting.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's
but
fine.
This is weird that she's calling me.
For those listening, I'll keep talking. The best musicians I've heard have been those who started training at a young age. I mean, no surprise there, obviously, but it's something that if you have kids and they show an interest in music, I would recommend at least trying it at that age. It could speak wonders for their life. It's kind of like it opens up the gates in the brain, kind of like a language, because it is kind of like language, learning music theory, tons of pitch and rhythm, which is that's all language is. That's how we recognize it so well, and that's why learning a language is so different, because they have different timing, pacing, chunking, and pitch and tone. So learning an instrument at a young age could be very beneficial for the mind, for absorbing information, for learning another language, even just thinking differently and having more coordination with your fingers and your hand-eye coordination, fine motor skills, things like that. So I recommend trying it at a young age. And if it doesn't stick, don't hold it against your kid, but there's no harm in trying. So yeah, if you have like Matt's kid, Hugo, he'll be 4 in May, and he's always, since I've known him his whole life, he's always had a knack for music, for singing, for drums, for guitar. He's always playing and singing the Beatles. Matt will send me videos of that. And it's very apparent that like someone like him should probably try it. And I think everyone should try it, even if your kid isn't showing interest. It's kind of like the same thing with Little League. Like so many boys grow up playing baseball. I did. I don't really care to play baseball. I'm not good at it. I understand it. I don't really even watch it. It's whatever to me. It's a sport. It's fine. But I still was put into baseball. I still did it because that's what you do. That's what my brother did. That's what my cousins did. So I did it. And as much as I wasn't that good, it got my hand-eye coordination and athleticism honed in more at a young age because I started playing t-ball at 5 and I played up until I was like 10. So like 5 years of playing that type of sport, something I don't do anymore, but it stuck with me. I still have those abilities, that athleticism at a young age. Same thing with basketball and football. Like we played a lot of backyard sports when we were kids, and I never played like professionally in any way, shape, or form, but having that foundation, to this day, I can go out and play basketball. I can go out and keep up and play 16-inch softball and know how to keep up and play the game and pay attention. And what I'm getting at is I'm referring that to like so many people get their kids to play sports. So like you should also try with an instrument. You never know. And that, if they don't even do it for a long time, say he does it, he's into it now, but by 9, he changes his mind. He goes into other things.
And I'm fine with that.
But those 4 years he did it, that will have huge impacts on his life. It'll help him understand stuff later in life he never would have been able to do.
Yeah.
So
what do
it's
you
always
think
good to start
drum
young.
lessons for a 4-year-old would go for?
Depends. You can find places that it might be $20 for 30 minutes.
Oh my God, I can't see though.
I mean, that's nothing. When you do like nice
vocal.
vocal lessons, it could be
Yeah,
$150 to $200 an hour. So
I have to look into that.
there's some places you should go to Rossi and Oak Lawn. You're not far from there. Hit up Joe
Yeah,
and just ask him. He's been a musical teaching wizard for over 20 years. Like he knows.
yeah.
If they don't have the right drummer there for him and his age,
Can you just
he
walk in? Like,
Yeah,
like,
or
set, like, a
probably, well, right
walk-in
now you
or
might have to
whatever?
call, like do an appointment. But I would definitely do that, and he could 100% will give you advice or at least point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Something will come of it.
I gotta do that. Take the next step. I have colored tape on the drum heads. But he hasn't seen them yet. I just put it on. So I figured colored tape. Hit the red one, hit the blue one, hit the black
That's good.
one. Like, yeah.
You even do color tape and write on it. Rack top. Floor tom.
I was gonna
snare,
do
kick drum.
I didn't, but I was gonna do like H on the snare, a U on the rack, a G on the, and a O. But yeah,
No, you should really do the tape, the color, and literally write what it is. Snare,
Yeah.
rack tom. That way,
because he knows them.
he knows the names of each
He
part.
knows the names of
Oh,
them.
really?
He might, like, if you asked him, he might play coy or he might, I don't know, but he knows. He knows. Just like he literally knows all the Beatles and what they do. He knows all the Ramones and what they do. He knows the Gorillas. And
That's
what they
amazing.
Do.
And he's almost 4. He's not even 4.
And he's known this stuff for like
A while.
a year plus now. Like,
Yeah.
I
I
we
would
never
recommend it.
we never filtered music. That was one thing I was big on. Like, we never filtered what he got audibly. So he was listening to like Rollins Band and the Gorillas and
That's good,
Run
though.
the Jewels and all that stuff. So
I would
yeah.
suggest, aside from drums, 100% the best instrument for anybody to learn, especially at a young age, is piano.
Yeah.
Because piano is rhythm and melody at the same time. It's very easy to understand. Your white keys are your whole notes, and the black keys are the sharps or the flats. And it's just very easy to understand. Every note you hit is that note. It's not like a violin or a cello upright bass where you have to use pitch and you could slide your finger up and down and like you have to find it. This is like, no, that is the note because that's what the key is assigned to. So it's very easy, and you get, again, your rhythm, your melody. You get both hands, so you get this dexterity, hand out. You get a balance between them.
Yeah.
And if you couple knowing piano with drums, you can do anything else.
Yeah.
Like, everything else will come to you. Throw in a string instrument like guitar, he's set. Like, if he gets guitar, piano, or better yet, like violin, cello, piano, and drums, like, the person, he'll be able to play anything. He'll hop on everything. Everything will make sense. So
Yeah.
most time when you meet someone that can play a lot of instruments, they tend to have started piano young.
I remember it was early in Friends of Music. I forget who said it, but they said like, oh yeah, my parents had me in violin lessons as a 4-year-old, and that always stuck with me.
Was that Glass Mountain?
That makes sense. If it were them,
Sudoku
I don't
method?
remember who.
Sudoku method? One of those methods.
Oh, I don't
Classic
remember.
method of using, I think, ear training and pitch and not
Yeah.
classic music theory. Yes, I do remember that conversation.
As we all know, the ear is more important than the eye.
Sure is. I know exactly where I am. Sure is.
Benjamin. Well, did you have coffee this morning? You said
I did.
you were
I actually
wired?
had a lot of coffee. So I had
Why?
I had my normal cup, my 25 grams, 14.1, 2 ounces.
I already regret asking. Continue. I don't care about coffee one bit.
That's fine.
I really don't.
It's okay. Another great drug that's legal.
I almost brought over. Yeah, right. I almost brought over some Starbucks.
Oh my God.
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
But I do like those caramel frappuccinos,
everyone
which
likes
are
them. It's a dessert.
exactly
You're having a
it's,
dessert.
it's ice cream.
I
Yeah.
hate to tell you people it's not coffee.
It's not.
It's
There's
not. Cream and sugar is not coffee.
It's
a dessert.
Or the s'mores ones during the summertime.
Don't get me wrong.
Those are amazing.
I like Starbucks for those reasons.
Mm-hmm.
When I want my crazy, stupid, obnoxious, million-calorie coffee dessert frappuccino with whipped cream in July, I go to Starbucks. Don't get me wrong, people. I go to that drive-thru. I get whatever largest size they have, 24 ounces venti, whatever Italian they want to mix with English. I don't care. I get the biggest one to make me feel special. This Italian they had to throw in there. I get the biggest one and I eat it. So don't get me wrong, but if I'm going to have my black coffee, it's not Starbucks or Dunkin' or Folgers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the good stuff. It's the real. It's real coffee, just like that's real chocolate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say about it. Why I had a lot of coffee today is yesterday. It was very nice out, so I went to the car wash to get a car wash and vacuum my car. Funny thing, things like this happen, but this one was quite interesting. I'm sitting there vacuuming, and I just hear Ryan McMahon's voice, Estevivo, playing on a car stereo next to me.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I look over, and this guy's just blasting Estevivo.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and he's just cleaning his car, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like smiling, I'm like, man, this is great. So he kind of sees me, and I go like, nice, Estevivo, and he's like, oh yeah, you know them? I was like, yeah, no, I was in the band for a while, and he's like, oh wow, that's cool. He didn't know who I was. He thought I was somebody else, and who I'm not gonna name, but he thought I was somebody else. I know who he thought I was, and I was like, no, I'm Ben. He's like, oh, yeah, I haven't seen them since they played DZ Fest. And I'm like,
Are you serious?
I was like, yeah, they haven't played since we played DZ Fest.
No.
And I was like,
way.
my name is Ben, and that's my house. Like, I actually put on DZ Fest. And he was just like, oh, like, and then he realized, like, oh, you're Ben. And he put all the connection. But it was just funny. Like, I'm getting a car wash.
That's
I had
so
the VO
funny.
and talked to someone about DZ Fest. But after that, after the car wash, I went to Strange Brew, where my
How's
friend,
Strange Brew doing? They
doing well.
survived?
I go there. I try to walk there like once a week.
Yeah.
Get it to go. Get out of there and just.
They've been
just
okay
go.
throughout
Yeah.
COVID and stuff?
I mean, as much
Oh,
as you
man,
can be. I
good
mean,
for
Matt
them.
comes over every week to practice. Like we were in a
Yeah.
band, you know.
Yeah.
So I went there and I got a nitro cold brew, and it's so strong, and I already had my cup of coffee. It's hard to finish it, so I saved half of it for today in the fridge, and I threw it in my breakfast smoothie, and it was
Oh,
amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting. What goes in your breakfast smoothie?
Or like organic plant-based protein, or organic, just pure peanut butter, unsweetened almond milk. Sometimes I put like a chunk of dark chocolate, just depends. 2 bananas and 1 avocado, and I have that every single day.
Yeah.
Every day at like 9.
Do you
9:15.
find that how long has this been going on for?
Probably since the summer, fall.
Do you feel like, because when you first started, you probably felt like this, right?
Mhm.
Do you feel like this now with
No,
it? Or are you still...
My baseline has gone up tremendously. Like, as long as I do my normal routine stuff that I do, from like 7, I wake up at 7 a.m.
Yeah, you say you've been waking up early and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you've really taken advantage of this COVID
I had
stuff.
to. Like last March.
Again, I went the opposite way.
Last
Edie's
Mar-
double fudge brownie, Benjamin?
That's
Are
the
you
thing,
kidding
though.
me?
I knew that. Like, that's me. Like, that's why I was 40 pounds heavier. Like, I get it. Like, and you know I could do it. You know I could put them away like no other. And I made a conscious decision in March when band practice for all 3 bands stopped. 4 months of a good amount of booking with bands from around the world stopped and had no plan to return. So my livelihood just stopped. The classes I teach, my other livelihood, went on pause and went online remotely, which was great at first because it's like, oh, I get to stay home and not like, but it's not good. Not good for education, not good for them, not good for me to learn as an educator to get better.
Exactly.
And the thing I worked on for 10 years, DZ Fest, stopped. So everything, just my life, that really got messed up. And then I had issues privately with relationships. So you put all that together, and I was like, I can either kill myself, legitimately, or I can just go crazy and do everything I've ever heard everyone who did something right in their life and put it all together
Yeah.
in this crazy montage of productivity,
Yeah.
which I did, and I can't undo that knowledge, information, and experience. And now I'm kind of obsessive with it, and it's changed my life. And I can't do the other. Like, this was the first winter I didn't get seasonal depression. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel lonely. I didn't feel anything. I felt like it was July every day this winter.
Yeah.
Walking through the blizzard, waking up with getting as much sunlight as possible. I wake up, sun rises, I sit and let it hit me through the window the whole morning.
Yeah.
I just want sunlight. I want vitamin D. I want information from light. And the exercise, been exercising a lot. The walks, haven't skipped anything, about 125 miles a month. So, like, it's roughly about 5.8 miles every day of walking, just around, taking in nature. I think a lot.
You don't crave the bad stuff, the sugar, like...
You start to crave it way less. So when you take it out of your body's fuel, and your body's fuel gets really, really clean
You
and
reset
pure.
your taste buds?
Yeah. You reset them. You don't really think about it anymore. The craving. I did many months of not drinking, so I'd do no
Did
drinking.
it affect you?
Like
Did you get
every couple
headaches or
months.
anything like that?
Well, I slowly went into it because I started doing way less carbs 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
That was my first initial 15, 20 pounds I lost was just diet change.
Yeah.
For those who are listening, I can attest. Do you want to lose weight? Literally just eat better. You don't even have to exercise.
You
literally
gain
don't.
muscle in the gym, you lose weight at the table.
And cardio. Cardio is pure. You need cardio. It's what we're most designed to do.
Cardio for weight loss strictly, though, not that it's bad, in no way is it bad, but it's not...
It's just part of it.
It's
part of the
it's
equation.
part of it, but it's a smaller part than
It's
you
a small
think.
part. It's a small part, but it is necessary for the equation because it reamps other parts. It
'Cause
gives you a clearer head.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel better to be more motivated to go to the gym.
The energy.
Or to eat that because your
Yeah.
energy's better, because your
The
heart's
energy's
working
there.
better. Your
Yeah.
lungs are working better. Your brain's
Exactly.
working better. You get that little endorphin rush. You also get time to be with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pain that I had to face the last year, financially, emotionally, physically, everything, just all being gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, the only way to get through is go on these walks and reflect and think about instead of the thing you want to say on the internet or the rebuttal you want to have with that text message or the thing
Yeah.
you're mad about
Yeah.
or you want to just get drunk tonight and forget about it. I'd sit
Yeah.
there and I'd just think and I'd
Yeah.
go for 5 miles in the hills and just
Yeah.
reflect and bounce these ideas off your head. Think about it before you say it or
Yeah.
do it or let it affect you. And by the end of it, anything that's bothering me is just gone. I feel fine. I'm always happy. It works. And that's what I had to do. The regimen, the workout 3 times a day,
Yeah.
morning, noon, and 5, after or before dinner. So it was intermittent fasting, 16 hours off, 8 hours on, all that
You
stuff.
stick with that still?
The only times I do anything, now that I got it to a good spot, is only weekends. Weekends I do whatever.
Yeah.
I still do the workout and the timing, the sleep, but the food is I'll have fun. Pizzas, wings, whatever.
If you have a pizza or a wing, does it?
Oh, it messes
do you
me
feel
up.
bogged down?
Oh yeah, it's huge, but it's worth it because I know I can make up for it. I eat so much bad food on the weekends that I usually gain about 5-6 pounds every weekend, and then throughout the week I lose it. So I go between 170 by Friday, Monday I'm 177, and then I get back down to 1, and it's the same thing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how bad I eat on the weekends.
I do
disturbing.
smoothie too every day. The base is either spinach or kale, and then it, depending on whatever fruits in season or whatever frozen fruit happens to be on sale. But my favorite is spinach, peach, and strawberry. That's it. I'll put chia and seeds in there sometimes, but that's usually the base. And I feel like
No avocado, huh?
I don't do avocados in my smoothies because I value the avocado too much. I want it in my mouth too much. I don't want it blended with all
That's
this
dinner
other
though.
crap.
So the avocado for me is smoothie in the morning.
Yeah.
Dinner, it's a garnish on the side. It's the main part of the salad. It's next to the steak. It's next to the salmon. It's next to the
Yeah.
chicken. It's always there. I eat so much avocado.
They
I've
weren't so
also
darn
learned, which
expensive.
I was literally going to get on that. The most important thing I learned was priorities. Okay, so priorities very well because you have a house, you have a wife, you have a kid.
You'd think,
but
but-
you do. You're being hard on yourself. You're here right now and you're not divorced and your kid still likes you. You know your priorities, trust
It's a
me.
delicate balance, but continue.
Knowing we're playing footsie, cousins can do that. Prioritizing your time for mental, emotional, and physical health, and prioritizing your money for the good food, the good diet, being smart about it. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg, but you're going to spend more money if you actually care.
Eating healthy is a rich man's game.
Sort of. So
It's a
I've gotten
responsible
I've
man's
gotten
game.
it down to like to where it's not unrealistic, but I definitely put 15-20% more money into it every week than I normally would have.
But the result,
Is I want to put more money. The result is insane.
when I open up a Hostess cupcake, they come individually wrapped,
Mm-hmm.
I inhale. That blast going.
How often do you have like a? How often do you have something you probably shouldn't have? Like, is it every day, every
Every
other day?
day.
Every day? Okay.
But like, yes, for example, yesterday, the one thing that I had that I shouldn't have had was just one of those Kit Kats, like the little 2-biter. That was it.
Yeah.
It could be as little as that, or it could be ice cream until I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Have you ever tried just like 3 days, 4 days?
I have. I get headaches.
You'll get headaches.
That's the thing.
You'll get
is
headaches.
I've yet to go over that hump, the headache hump, that. So that's the thing I really got to work on. But
It's bad.
But I mean, I'm hard on myself for my diet, but the working out stuff I've been I used to do it every single day, and now I remember thinking like early in the pandemic with work and stuff. I got this. That's where the rowing machine came. We got this.
It gets easier the more you do it because it becomes very routine, and then you see the results. You hear them.
Yeah.
Like for the first time in my life, people saying stuff to me. You're just like, wow, okay,
so
I guess it is real.
How I'd said before, like the most unhealthy I've ever been is this moment. The healthiest I've ever been was when I was alone in that basement. It may not have
remember
been
that.
mentally very healthy, but physically,
Yeah, you were shredded.
I was running 8 miles a day.
We both were shredded.
Oh, yeah.
We both had like 6-packs, kind
Abs,
of.
abdominal muscles
Oh, yeah.
existed.
Oh yeah,
And I'd gotten like the skinny person, like
fit.
not that I was buff. I wasn't Brian in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or form.
Yeah, right.
But like there was tone.
I remember that because we would
And
run with our
that-
shirts off.
Yeah. And you know what? So, have you ever heard anyone say like, "Oh, put a shirt on," or "Oh, I can't stand when people run with their shirts off." Oh, I love it. I enjoy doing it, but I like when other people do it. If some gross, sweaty slob dude wants to run, some like 90-year-old saggy dude wants to run down the street with his shirt off, I am so for that.
I wouldn't be against it. Why is anybody against that?
People don't like to see that. It's like people seeing feet on planes.
You know
or
what it is that
something.
they're really against?
They're against
They're
the
jealous that,
motivation
that
and
they're
the-
not doing
yeah,
it. And that
exactly.
person who looks slobby, they're surprised that person's doing it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
for it.
love seeing people running
For
outside.
all the
Love it.
exercise.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
diet and exercise, I sound so darn like an evangelist for this. It's insane, the results. The emotional results are through the charts. The way you handle situations changes.
Yeah.
The way things like I told this to a friend recently who went through a breakup. I'm not gonna say names. Who's going through a hard time, and I told him, I was like, because I went through a breakup, and it was hard, and I was like, the only thing that will get you through this without you like resulting to drugs, alcohol, sleeping in late, being unproductive for the next year, probably like literally just this year will be a wash in your life, and you'll probably resent it. Don't stop moving in any way, shape, or form. Like literally exercise yourself to where you can't lay in bed at night thinking about that person because you pass out because you're done. Like I am
Exhaustion.
done every night.
Exhaust
I
your
don't think
body.
about anything anymore.
Yeah.
I used to have the worst anxiety and stay up all night
Yeah.
thinking, and I'd write songs and records about it.
Yeah.
Like that's what those came from because I had the worst anxiety, and now I'm just
I have a
so
Wilshire
drained.
question.
Yeah.
Can you don't have to tell me the song, okay? You don't. But can you just tell me what one Wilshire song is about? Honestly. You don't have to go into like crazy details. You don't have to name names. You don't have to say the song. Just tell me what one of them is about.
So most of them.
Everybody listening right now, this is unprecedented. This has never happened in the history of Benjamin and musical projects. But Just give me one, Benj.
Okay.
And there's only one person on this world that knows what you're talking about, and it's you. So you're not letting any cats out of any bags here.
I've always been quite.
Do not sidestep the
I'm not.
question, Benjamin.
I'm not. I'm getting
You
to it.
see that side?
Okay.
You're
Okay.
stepping
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I love this.
99%.
Oh, you're sidestepping the
And I'm
question,
giving-
Benjamin.
It's hard to explain without giving it like a little bit of foundation because it's not straightforward. 99% of the songs I've ever written have not been love songs, which is what most songs are in some way, shape, or form. Because that's too on the nose for me and too
Because you've
obvious.
never felt love before?
No, I have. So when I've sung about it, it's been more philosophical. And I feel very introspective and like to think about.
I have a question for the listeners. Have you heard an answer to my question yet? Because I sure
Okay.
haven't.
Okay. Like a song like Epigenesis.
Don't tell me the name of the song.
Okay, fine. I won't say that one. About why are we? Who are we? Does it matter? Does it not? What are we going to do with the time we have? And how will we become better individuals because of that time?
Is that a subject matter for a lot of the songs, or is this a specific song you're talking about?
Specific song, but it branches off into bigger philosophical questions about the mind, physically and emotionally and mentally, where it comes from, where it goes, how elastic it is, how stuck in its ways it is, what it means. A lot of poetry using fancy sentences and words to say those things, because that's just the songs are they're poems, they're melodic structures, and I couple them. That's how I write them. So it's like not verse chorus. They're very they just keep going. They just spin forward. They don't come back. That's how I write. Everyone's different. So a lot of them were about things I don't understand about myself and trying to interface with existence, such as the memory, the numbers, the colors, the misunderstanding, the not fitting in because of those things, trying to understand what love is without being a love song, trying to understand what people are without being a song about people, but more or less the idea of what it is to coexist. Questioning existence, religion, science. Very philosophical. Always thought about these types of things at a young age, and just like it had to come out that way. And I don't know any other way to write. So it's like fun to be in the other bands like Sylvia's, Trevor's, Vinny's, where I don't have to be the way, and I just get to play the instrument that like fits in that 3-minute structure. But the second you give me an instrument, it goes that place. The second you say lyrics, it goes to those places of questioning. I really, really enjoy like subtlety of just an inanimate object and finding every type of angle and beauty within it, and like writing a poem about it, like expressing myself about like this plexiglass that draped behind you, the patterns of the foam, the microphone, and how it's a transducer to take your acoustical energy and turn it into mechanical energy, into digital energy, back into mechanical, back into acoustic again, for us to hear through our ears, into the ears, and hits the tympanic membrane, turns it back into, acoustical energy, back into mechanical, back into hydraulical energy, into a neurological energy, which goes to your brain, and then you decipher it. And then based on that, you react, and it happens again. Like, that's the type of stuff I like to think about, because that's real. Like, that's really happening.
Yeah.
And the flowery stuff, which is like love, it's always there. It's always present. It's in between it all. So I use the flowery stuff and the emotional parts of the guitar and the strings and the patterns to build up to like harness and hoist what is the questions of existence. Like, that's what the lyrics are about.
Yeah. Benjamin. I should have known that was going to be the answer.
I don't even know what kind of answer.
But that makes me so happy because
There's more to it,
that I've always loved how true to you that's always been. I mean, there's no. have you ever made like a 4/4 song? And I'm not saying like you should or that's wrong or
mean-
right, but like that's to me that's amazing that you haven't. You know, I'm glad.
I mean,
that
I
you
made
haven't.
like a 4/4 song, but has it had a traditional pattern where it's like intro, verse,
Yeah, A, B,
pre-chorus,
A, C, A, B or
chorus,
whatever. Yeah.
intro, verse, chorus, pre-chorus, bridge, pre-chorus, chorus twice, and then outro, like 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't. I not necessarily. Not even in that pattern. Even like the most structured song I've ever made remotely like that is like Timelessness, and it's still kind of. You know, there's like 85 guitar tracks. It's like not quite there. You can barely understand the lyrics.
Oh my god. There are things, true or false. There are things in Wilshire songs that to this day people other than you have no idea.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like every
Most
song.
of them.
Yeah. Like even your bandmates
No.
have no
I was
clue.
very cryptic deliberately.
So much.
I because of what I want from.
See, unlocking that puzzle at a certain age when finding music and unlocking those little puzzles, I'd never listened to music as complex as yours that young, but growing up 14, 15, 16, getting into bands, when you get to unlock a band's puzzle, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
No,
what that's
it's cool,
about.
and I really enjoy not talking about it.
I know.
No, like because what I really like out of an art form is for the listener,
Interpretation.
for them to take something away. So like the biggest compliments I ever got. Well, again, I've mentioned this before. Maybe 10 people actually really like that band, right? Because maybe only 10 people have ever heard it. But the things I've heard from some people, like the things they've said, it was such a great thing to hear that it overpowered a million people going like, I love the lyrics. You're so cute. I want to go on a date with you. Like what you'd hear like in some pop song. Like
Yeah.
I would never want to
Yeah.
hear that. And I'd rather hear one person go like, dude, your music did X, Y, and Z, like this part right here and that. And I'm just like, because that type of music takes an in-depth patience and like listening and like
Yeah.
decoupling what it is, you know?
Yeah.
So because of that, inherently you're going to get people asking those types of questions. That means a lot more to me. And it doesn't happen ever. But when it does, I'm like, that then it was worth it.
Yeah.
You know, I will hear once in a while someone say like, wow, this song, that, or that. Zach, Chrysostomo, a friend of mine, good friend, was recently listening to the last Wilshire record and brought up something in lyrics. And he said like, he's just never heard anything like that before. And it did something for him. And I was like, he had no reason to say
Yeah.
those things. He's not lying to me.
Yeah.
The record's been out for 7 years. He could have listened to it a million times. He's known us the whole time.
Yeah.
He just revisited and heard it with a new mindset. And yeah, I don't know. It's the same concept of like, why connect the songs? Why connect the records? You know, like it's connected to me because it's all the manifestation of who we are as a species, as an existence, as molecules. We are all connected. It is very spherical. It's spherical because of how everything has to work in order for us to have spherical shapes. The moon, the sun, the earth, its gravity, centrifugal force, these things pulling them together. Why, you know, the water moves across the surface of the earth, you know. And I can't know any other way but to explain that through music. When I write music, I love playing other types of music and I love listening to all types of music. But if you give me a pen and paper and give me a guitar, like that is what will come out 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will there be another Wilshire album, you think?
I hope so. I have a ton of ideas. I got a lot of different tunings. I have more than enough lyrics to work with.
Yeah.
It's just putting it together when I'm like trying to do all the other things, and like the Afterglows things kind of like gets that kick from me because I get to
Yeah.
just go ham.
Yeah.
And just like improvising on guitar is so much fun.
Yeah.
Like I've never written a guitar solo, but I've done a lot of guitar solos. I've never written one because
Yeah.
I like being put under pressure to figure it out in the moment.
It's always been incredibly entertaining to watch you play guitar live, especially in Wilshire,
Yeah.
because there's no way you're not in pain afterwards. Like, there's just no way. Like, you just went 12 rounds with what's his name doing some Muay Thai kicking and stuff.
Darren.
Yeah, Darren, yeah. Like, and that's what's always drawn me to live music is if a musician is in pain physically or emotionally, either way, like if you tell they burned calories on stage, I'm immediately a fan. Doesn't matter what it sounds like. If there's calories
Yeah.
burned, you got me. You know?
I'm always sweating profusely after a show, especially like Wilshire shows, because it wasn't just the physical part, it was the mental part of it. Trying to remember those parts and like translate them to get them to come out properly was very mentally draining, and you burn a lot of calories when you think.
Do you have a favorite show ever that you've played and a favorite show ever that you've been to?
Yes. So a favorite show I played, man, I would say is probably DZ Fest 2015. It was the first year we did two stages. It was 4th of July Saturday, and the fireworks were going off everywhere.
Okay.
And we had a really, really good turnout.
Yeah.
Huge, biggest crowd I ever performed in front of.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended with Epigenesis, I believe. And we had like 11 people on stage.
Yeah.
It was huge. We practiced for weeks. We played it really well. I even have a video of it. I'm really grateful we were able to capture it. But fireworks were going off while we were playing, and I remember playing the song. It's a very emotional song. It's my favorite song that I've ever written, and the lyrics mean a lot to me. And like seeing the fireworks go off, seeing 1,000 people in front of me, seeing people sing the lyrics. I saw people sing the lyrics. I was like, what the heck? And then being on stage with all my friends, just like 11 musicians, like doing their craft at their best. Like everything was just magical. And it's the fest that I put in my backyard, where I look at my childhood house and like where I got hurt playing football. Like it's just so much information.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
I'm getting goosebumps.
And you know,
I
I see my siblings, I see you, I see my brother, it's just like my neighbors are cool with it. Like and it's late. This is back when we went later to like midnight, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. And yeah, it was magical. And like I'll never forget that. I'm so glad there's a video of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty insane to manifest and perform like a 10-minute song too, with all these moving parts. And it was a lot, and it was cool. And like, yeah, those are the things that have always kept me like going when things are down. Like the following year when it got like shut down, like it's stuff like that when I pull from the previous year, like, no, we're gonna, you know, when I remember saying 2 stages and people were like, what do you mean 2 stages?
2 stages made no sense to me when you first said it. It makes perfect sense now.
I said 2 days. That didn't go
2
well.
days. I was just like, dude, why you do this to yourself, man? Glutton for punishment.
Were you thinking, why are you doing this to yourself, or why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, a little from column A, a little from column B. And you're like, oh, do I got 2 days in me? Shoot.
The answer is yes.
Because, and yeah, well, you know just as well as anybody, that second day is slow motion. Like,
It's
it's
a marathon.
hard. It's hard.
People climb Mount Everest, Matt. People go to space. People run marathons, ultra marathons.
Mm-hmm.
People survive cancer. People
put on 2-day fasts.
People open up babies' brains and have surgery and do a 14-hour surgery on it. Like, so compared to those things, I'm just like, it's nothing. To me, it's nothing. It's hard.
Yeah.
I lose 15 pounds that week. It's insane. I don't even have time to think or eat or sleep. But I can do it. And if I can do it and we can do it together, like, then clearly it's possible.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I joke around. I'm not even joking. I throw around the 3-day thing, and I don't get good responses at all from the 3-day festival.
That's a bad idea. I mean, there's only 2 days in a weekend. Unless you're going like 4th of July extended.
Other festivals have done it just fine.
That's true.
What? So they
3
had millions of
stages?
dollars and plenty of people helping? I mean, who needs that? When you
3 stages though, or just 2?
You know, we have
3
that
days?
neighbor yard. If someone buys that house,
Hey, what's up with the Carter's house?
Yeah, if someone
Any
buys
updates? It's still
if someone buys it, we can have a
Whoa.
3-day,
Fancy.
2-yard, 4-stage, 90 bands. 3-stage, 90 bands.
Yeah, it's hard. Like the sonic assault that your body gets from that,
Earplugs.
even with
Meditation.
no one meditates. Even with earplugs, it's exhausting just being there, not even working.
Mm-hmm.
It's exhausting. So you're looking to exhaust your fans.
I don't. Well, they don't have to come back every day.
See, you are challenging people like, bet you can't, I bet you won't. And then when they say, no, I'm not gonna, you're just okay with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
I don't care.
Oh, what is inside this bent brain of yours? What
Metal.
What was the year? The then Peekaboo's now Lollygagger. Because you're responsible for you/them are responsible for like one of the greatest moments of my life.
2016.
It was the next year, the shutdown year.
Yeah. 2016, the Peekaboos played. And it was the day before 4th of July. It was Sunday night, and you got on stage with the mic
Yeah.
and the GoPro.
I get goosebumps, and
I've never seen you
think
unleashed like that before, and it was awesome.
it never it's never happened before. Like I've always secretly like envied it and wanted it and craved it and all that, but I've just never, like I said, everything I do is based off of fear. Like I'm too afraid to ever do anything like that. And so when Mike contacted me maybe 2 days before.
Sunnyside?
Yeah, maybe 2 days before that, he just sent me a Facebook message. Hey, dude, you want to do this song with us? And the amount of dialogue going through in my head was just saying, no, you're too untalented, you're too slow, you're too dumb, you're too this, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you're not doing this. As those thoughts are going on in my head, just no, they're better than you, you suck, you're this, you're that. I'm typing, yeah, let's do it. And I hit send before I could double, triple think it. And that was it. That was literally, there was no practice, there's no like discussion, and so for him, as a seasoned musician that he is and that the band is, they didn't think twice about it. I'm sure they probably, Mike was like, hey, we're going to do this song. Okay, guys, let's do it. Matt's like, all right, whatever, and that's it. That was the amount of thought they put into it. Me, on the other hand, got zero sleep, had no idea what was going to happen. But when they showed up with their gear and stuff that day, Mike was like, yeah, man, you good? Yes, sir. I'm good. I had to like.
And I think you're even older than they are.
Oh, am I?
Maybe the same age.
Oh man, and I know that song inside and out. It's one of my favorite songs ever by one of my favorite bands ever. And I had to like I was in your kitchen during DZ Fest on YouTube, like going over like a lyric video, like
And for the listeners, what song was it?
It was Blueprint by Fugazi. And
this is on, for those who are listening, this is on stage. DZ Fest, I believe it was 2016 when they were playing. I believe Matt might have been at Mushrooms.
I wouldn't doubt it one bit, because that was a performance. Their entire set was amazing.
Epic. And that was a year.
Amazing.
There was 2 or 3 years where we had an extraordinarily large crowd, and that was one of them.
Okay, I need you to confirm that for me, because in my mind's eye, it's a sea of people.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is a sea of people, because you remember from that vantage point.
Yeah.
From that vantage point, you're 4 feet up, so you're 4 feet higher than anybody. So when you look, even though people might be like spaced by a couple feet, that angle, those spaces get small. They don't seem like, it looks like they're on top of each other.
Yeah.
And there were years, 2016 in particular, I think 2016 and 17 was the biggest tournament we ever had, just by the right dates, the right band, just everything was right. Good weather. We had great weather.
The weather was great.
Weather is overrated when it comes to festivals. We know that from 2019.
Yeah.
But the weather was great. 75 and 78, sunny both days. Great turnout. You might have been singing in front of 1,000, 1,200 people, like what you'd see at the Vic Theater or the Riv, And it was in my yard and spread out as far as I could see.
Nothing was said about it. No one knew, other than the band or whatever. And I wasn't but I was so stressed out and anxiety ridden that entire day about that. And their performance is coming up, and I watched them from the steps, side of the stage, by myself. Everyone was just loving it. And normally I would have been in there, but I knew, and in my head I'm like, please don't. And it was kind of deeper into their set. It was maybe 2/3 into their set or something. So in my head I'm like relieved, like, okay, maybe you forgot. All right, good, thank God. But then he called me up. And I replay it in my head so much. He called me up. And right there, it's like, you can't, there is no, up until that point, there was a safety net, there was a backup plan. Like, I could have, but when he called, like, you can't say no. So I got up, and I just remember seeing the people, and I think I saw Andrew, and I was like, oh, that's Andrew right there. There's Vinny or like Mark, or like just seeing, just like, it just smacked me upside the head. And then I saw the GoPro, and when I saw the GoPro, there's something about that.
It was attached to the mic.
It was attached to the mic, and something about that, because it fell. I think I grabbed the mic and it shook and it fell, and something about that, picking that up, kind of settled me down a little bit. And I have no idea what happened afterwards.
It was a blur.
I really don't know. And you've done it, you know it. But I'm just little old me. Like,
It's scary every time.
I don't know how.
It doesn't go away.
It
You just learn to deal with it.
I have no idea if I was, like, I don't even know what, like, being on key means. I knew I came in late a couple times. I want to say I started early once, and all I was doing was yelling a couple words every now and again. I wasn't doing the entire song. Mike, I think, sang 75% of it, and I just did some yelling. But just remember thinking, like, wow, okay,
Crowds moshing. People are rocking out.
God.
So, like, no one's even paying attention to the timing and the pitch. Like, it's Fugazi, it's punk rock, it's the Peekaboos, it's DZ Fest, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and everyone's destroyed.
I remember, like, thinking,
know?
oh, there's Matt. I'm going to go hang out with him for a little bit. And, like, I did. And, like, oh, Mike's back there with the drums. I think I, like, stuck my head into, like, under a cymbal but above a tom, and just,
It's
like,
a dangerous place to have your head
Yeah.
for sound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But the adrenaline, though.
So that was your favorite moment of DZ Fest?
Honestly, one of my favorite moments of my life.
It was pretty awesome.
I mean, honestly.
I remember seeing that,
like,
and I was just like, Matt's up there singing right now? I don't think you told me.
I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't even think I told Sherry. I may have texted her the day of, like, hey, they want me
Did
to do this.
you go on stage for when we'd get everybody on stage?
No.
For like Estevivo stuff?
No,
No.
didn't do that. That was fun to watch, though. But I remember coming off the stage, the high, I was high.
You're hot.
And I remember Greg from Black Bear Rodeo, like, modded me and was just like, dude, you did that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that till the day I die.
No, it was awesome.
It messes with me to this day. One of my favorite parts of the day is before you fall asleep, when you're still conscious, and it's your time. The world's shut down. You're not in REM. But your eyes are closed. You have that time to think about whatever you want to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I normally think about basketball, but when I'm not thinking about basketball, I'm thinking about that moment, and that's a daily occurrence.
Really?
No hyperbole. No. That's just
You're not
life.
being sarcastic?
No. In no way, shape, or form. That is the honest to God's truth. When I'm not thinking about basketball, I'm thinking about that moment.
Is that why earlier, when we first started, you prefaced with, like, a compliment to DZ stuff? Because of stuff like that?
It's so important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It in so many ways, it changed my life. The Friends of Music side of it, the DZ record side of it, the DZ Fest side of it, the friendship side of it, the other,
The intimate evenings.
The intimate evenings, the basement shows. I mean, it's all so important to me, for so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It to have that creative space as a not a viewer, but as a not a consumer, as a compatriot. No, what's the word I'm thinking of? To be able to have that space to go to, because I got a glimpse of that in high school with friends' bands, like punk bands, going to local shows, Ashbury's, the Ice
Oklahoma
Arena,
Ice Arena, yeah.
going to stuff like that. I got a taste of it, but the technology, wasn't there. The spaces weren't this space. You know what I mean? Like it was different. I just would think of if I were in high school and this was happening in my neighborhood, just how important that would be, and how you cannot overstate, you cannot quantify the importance of that in a young person's mind, in a creative's mind. You know what I mean? And I got that as an adult. I am fortunate, and it's because of you, It is. There's no other way around it. So yeah, I'm getting uncomfortable now.
I appreciate it, Matt. I mean, I don't know any other way. And what you said earlier, like, it's weird. This podcast has been you saying way more than me.
And I knew that because I
You're deflecting. You're putting it all on me.
I wanted to like on the way over here, I'm thinking like I'm literally just gonna interview him. Like that's what I'm gonna do. I
have definitely said some things today that I normally do not say. So you did your job.
Yeah, same. Like I don't talk about this stuff,
Well, I mean, it's weird because we know what we're saying because we went through it all the last decade, literally. The first house show we had was in May 2011, so it's 10 years.
There are things that I'll tell you off, Mike, that have happened due to all of this.
What do you mean?
I can't say.
You can't say? Okay.
No.
We'll say off mic.
Maybe we'll say off mic.
Say it off. Now you have to say it off mic.
We'll see. But like stuff like that, it's like these things are just burned. They're tattooed into my brain.
Yeah.
That, will never, the best of times.
But can I ask you a question?
No, you can't. Yeah, you can. And that too. Why would you say, "Can I ask you a question?" Like you're not going to ask me this question. Come on, Benjamin.
No, it's being a human. I don't know. It's just what you say. So you're 5 years older. You've known me since the day I was born. You probably remember when I was born.
I do have vague snapshot memories.
And we've always been like, when we were little, again, we said earlier, like, we were coupled with each other because the age, we played sports, games. It was always Matt and Ben versus whoever for everything. When I got older and you were around, does it make sense that these things happen? I don't know. I'll never understand it because I just been doing what I know how to do, what I want to do, and how I feel.
In a way, it does, but in an even bigger way, it doesn't because of the extent and to the magnitude you've reached with this. Watching you, build Wrigley Field out of Connects and translating that into the DZ, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But to take that to the nth degree that you have doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense in any context. It really doesn't. I've said it before. You said it before. Everyone said it before. You cannot explain what goes on back there. You cannot to an outsider. It is impossible. That's why Mikey's VHS documentary, or if you want to call it a documentary, I don't know, but that's why that is the best representation. But even that is still a slice of a pie.
Yeah.
Like you cannot explain to someone, "Oh, you want to go to a music fest this weekend?" Yeah, where? Like downtown? It's not Pitchfork weekend. It's not Lala weekend. What do you mean? No, it's in Hickory Hills. It's my cousin's backyard. How many red flags just raised into
Every red flag?
And it's like, okay, like who's playing? Like what 3 local bands are playing? No, 49,000 local bands are going to be playing in a 2-day, and you'll have the best tacos you've ever eaten in your entire life. Okay, how much? If you want to give the damn good doorman Mark $20 at the door, you can. Or, like if you want a keychain, like that's cool. Like how do you can't. You want to go to an amazing show in a basement? I mean, I guess that's more relatable. Basement shows happen, but do you want to see the 3 best bands you'll see all year? Do you want to meet some of the funniest, coolest people? Do you want to go to a show and not deal with bullshit? Like it's like that's never happened in the history of music. It happens here on a monthly basis. You know what I mean? Like You can't explain that to people. So to answer your question, yes and no. You know, like when they're making a documentary about you in 75 years, like there's gonna be someone. It'll probably be like your parents, but someone's gonna be like, yes, Ben was destined for great things. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I could have said that then, because then you were just a kid that built stuff and played video games and played football, and you know what I mean. You were have a different perspective.
Yeah.
But,
No, I mean, but like that's how I feel now. That's how I feel about everybody. Like, just a person. I maybe the only difference, and between anybody who just does different things, is I don't have that wall in the brain that says you probably shouldn't do this. Like, it just doesn't exist.
yeah.
And when people say it, I'm like, well, I was gonna do it anyway, but now I'm really going to do it.
Yeah.
And like, or when someone's like, you can't go into this and then the cable and the that, I'm like, well, I was gonna do it anyway, but now I'm like really
Now
gonna do
you're
it.
extra motivated.
Like, why? Like, you know that this is possible. Like, people have been doing way more. People build bridges across the ocean.
There is one thing, Benjamin. What am I gonna bring up?
Playing in the tree. Matt, the tree's falling apart. Listen, I was gonna do it, but then like my band
I'm
ceased to
sorry.
exist.
I'm
I
sorry.
was waiting for the technology to get there. The idea was
But that's
planted.
the thing. Knowing you like I know you, when there is something that comes up in this world that you can't do, it's almost a victory for me in a like a psychosomatic sort of like, you know, like a Schadenfreude kind of way. Your failure is my success because you're not supposed to, like, that doesn't happen. That goes against everything I've known.
It's still a plan.
It's sick.
I've done things of it. Like the beach video with Sylvia.
Yeah.
That was insane. It was not easy to do.
Yeah. That shouldn't have been done.
That was really, really,
it was
really
done.
hard to do.
When you
So stuff like that I still try to do.
coming home from that John Till show when you were green,
Very hungover.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun time for many reasons, but just like that was the first time I'd ever seen you like that.
Yeah.
And not that I took pleasure out of your
Yeah.
discomfort, but I was just like, Ben, you've never not had your wits about you. You've never not known the
Composure.
capital of Mali. You've never not known the distance between there and here. You don't know those things right now. And you just jumped out of this van to
Ran
go.
and threw up on the side of I-55 when I found out we had to bring Jake's wallet back to him. That's what got me. I would have been able to hold the puke in, but then it's hot out.
But there was no getting around that because of the reason why.
Of course. And
Oh
we were
my
like
God.
40 miles out. We're by like Plymouth.
And a band was lighting you up because a session was needed to be done.
We had a session to get. Oh, that was.
Was that Bet on Rats from Grand Rapids, Michigan?
It was. That's fun. We have very similar memory sometimes, man. It's kind of funny that we like how I know that and you know. It was 5 years ago.
Oh, man.
There's been a million bands since.
Also, too, why I thought that was so much fun was that whole time Larry and I were in the back of the Town and Country, and I love Larry so much.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a walking, talking good time.
Yeah.
And I never had like a trip with him. Like we were in that
You guys are
space for
bonding.
an hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we bonded, and he might not know it, but that meant a lot to me because he entertained me. Larry's one of those dudes where he can count up to 10 on an abacus, and that would be the most entertained I will be that week. Like he's just naturally entertaining. And I just, that was so much fun.
That's
and to
why-
have him in the back messing with you and just messing
Egging
with
it on.
everyone and just
Trevor, too.
And Trevor's not helping.
Oh,
and-
that was rough.
Yeah.
I threw up a
Who
lot.
was in that van with us? Yeah, Trevor,
Jason.
Jason. It was Jason's van,
Yeah.
right?
That was a rough one. I drank a lot with John till that night. The night before. Too many different drinks.
There's another off mic story about that night that could possibly be told. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So many good stories.
So good. So
I-
good, Benjamin.
That's like I've maybe about 3 or 4 times I've had like out of my character, like drinking, throwing up around people, but not really. Like I still kind of
Because
I didn't do it in the van.
are
I
such
hold the fort,
that
you know?
character. You are such that character. You are a rock. And to see that rock crumble. Okay, I keep saying I'm not taking pleasure in your pain, but good God, I took pleasure in that pain.
I don't blame you.
But yeah, I can't justify it. I'm an asshole. I don't care. But it was, you had to get out of the side of the road on 55.
I had to get out of the van and go throw up on the side of the road. And then we got back in, did a U. We went back, gave him his wallet, and then went back again and drove home. It was rough.
Oh, Benjamin. Oh,
Man.
I'm
The
sorry.
thing is, though, it
And
takes those moments to learn and not do those things again. You know?
Yeah, that experience. And that again circles around full circle to me apologizing for treating you poorly the times that I have. That's an example. You weren't treated fairly by anyone in that van.
No, I was not. Many people have gotten drunk and throw up. Not many people had like a van of 5, 6 people just making fun of them the whole time. While they're suffering, while they are stressed about this band with the gear and all. There was a lot.
But you would never do that to any of us in that van.
No, I wouldn't.
You are so above that, and we are so below that. Like, you did not deserve any of that. You truly didn't.
It's okay. Makes you a stronger character. That's all I could say.
Benjamin, I'm going to say something to you that I don't know if I've ever said with this much earnestness and honestness, but I love you. I love you.
I love you too, man.
I love you so much.
I love you a lot.
And this will make sense to me, but it won't make sense to anybody else. I love the fact that you exist in the same way that I love the fact that when they were with us, that Prince existed, or the fact that David Bowie walked among us. I'm not putting you, but I am. I love that
I don't know what to
people
say.
like you exist. People like them exist. That there are people out there doing these things. I love that. It gives you faith in humanity. Because all you got to do is open your eyes and turn to the left, and you lose faith in humanity. If you have a conscious brain, you have no faith in humanity. But
I appreciate
you
that.
give me faith.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And people give me faith because it's one thing to have an idea or to try something or to be a little bit off the charts with an idea that just doesn't seem possible. But to have individuals in your life, family, friends, people just reaching out to you on Instagram or Facebook messaging like, hey, I want to like volunteer for this thing. You know, the 10, 15, 20 times that's happened, or asking a friend and they go, yeah, of course. That's what that gives me faith. Like, it's that feedback that helps me to keep doing those things. Because like, I try to do as much as I can alone for many different reasons. A, I feel bad just asking people to do stuff for me. B, I genuinely love just absorbing as much information. I want to learn how to do everything. Yeah. I want to be capable to just do it. I like to just learn. I like learning. But just the information and the love and the positive reinforcement I get, even when someone's giving like an attitude, like, but then they do it anyway, and they do it great, and I could see they enjoyed it, and they're just really just giving me a hard time. I've learned to not mistake giving a hard time for someone actually not wanting to do something. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that keeps me going. When I look at a photo of 60 people in front of Stage D at 11:45 a.m. on a Saturday before a 2-day music festival, and these people are there because they want to be there, and they care, and they enjoy it, and they enjoy the music, and you and Eddie are throwing away thousands of pounds of garbage for me, and I don't even have to say anything. You know, it's like,
I miss taking that photo.
I know.
By the way. That's always
you and Eddie just having a fun time with it. The walkie-talkies, the goofing around, the
losing the voice,
coming
up with
the carrying gear with dollies. It's you can say all these nice things, which I appreciate, and I know they're genuine. And what I'm saying back is like, you need a balance, and the balance is like, I can't do anything without people. I couldn't have a podcast unless someone was on the other side.
Oh, by the way, I take zero credit for the podcasting because of all people in this world, you would be the one to discover podcasts and get into them.
It's hard to say. It's impossible. We'll never know.
No. That's a metaphysical certitude. Like, that would have happened. Of course it would have happened. It may not have happened on May 1st, 2000, whatever, but it would have happened. So I take zero credit for that.
For those who don't know, Matt and I started a podcast in May 2012. It went on for about 7 years, which is insane. Interviewed thousands of people. Because how many episodes?
340 to 50 something.
Definitely thousands of people. Then.
But there were some, you might not even know this, there were some that just didn't even come out because it
Life.
just dissolved. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people were interviewed, and a lot of people came through, and they're that radiates through. Like, that's the funny. We'll end on this. The funniest thing about you and I, Friends with Music, Intimate Evenings, Sessions, DZ Fest, just everything that encompasses the last decade of us is like the numbers and the internet don't know what it is, and it doesn't reflect what it really is.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdest thing. Like,
Yeah.
like to go around town to different cities and Chicago and constantly have DZ stuff brought up in some way, shape, or form. But then I go on the internet and there's like 5 likes on a photo. I'm like, oh, it's because I don't reflect well on the internet because I don't really do it well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't show.
Yeah.
But it's much more than that. It's interwoven. You know, it's everywhere. It's at a Whole Foods. It's at the burger joint we went to in the summertime. You know, the waiter brings up DZ Fest.
Can one of these days, can I come over with all those notes? And can we go through every single one of them? Not saying we have to like podcast or anything, but just do it.
I would like that.
Oh, that'd
It'd be really interesting to see that you
so
documented so much things that are like there.
Man.
That's the best part about those, like little time capsules.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your interviews, the sessions, like sometimes like when I have old friends around like Jake or something, we'll like throw on sessions from 8, 7, 6 years ago. And I'm like, such cool ones. Like, yeah, the production wasn't that great yet, but the bands were great.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool like to see those, that they're there.
That brings up the thing I'd say often on the show on Friends with Music is the closest thing humanity will ever come to a time machine is music. Music is the only time machine that we'll ever know.
It's very timeless. It sure is.
Which is a Wilshire song. Timelessness?
Timelessness. I remember you were there that day in the background, just cracking up. You were like kind of hanging out by the bonfire. We were setting up for all that and filming it. Or you were just kind of hanging out in the background, just like, that was kind of obnoxious.
I remember that. Wait, what are you talking about?
So, well, for
Which
those
one are you
listening,
talking about?
we made the big
circle.
video in the backyard.
Okay.
Where we brought out a bunch
Yeah.
of gear, had like 13 people play a song, and it was just a big
I just
ordeal.
remember thinking, like, with every piece of gear coming out, it's like, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like, just being in awe, like, this is happening.
And that was 8 years
This is
ago.
happening. That was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Who's the next guest on this?
It's a secret.
Oh, come on.
It's a secret.
Benjamin.
Magician
Because you don't
never
have them
shows his
booked?
hands. No, I do. I got the whole next March booked. Hold
Give me a
on.
hint.
Artist, painter, illustrator,
Let's give some more love to this guy.
Michael. He changed his Instagram handle. Changed before. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't look.
Remember I said it was like art and stuff or something,
Yeah.
and then when I talked about it, it was something different. Remember that at the beginning of the
Yeah.
podcast? Do you know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
That was interesting. Like then when I looked back, it was something different.
So what is it now?
Well, I named it already. It was
Oh.
M.A. So Mass Studios, but M. A. S. _ Studios. His name's Michael. Check his work out.
Good stuff.
Matt, you're going to be coming on again because we haven't even scratched the surface. We have 30 years to talk about, and we talked way too much about me. And I knew what you were doing. So for those listening, I did not want this to be about me, but it's Matt, so I'm going to answer his questions. So I have nothing to hide.
A good host needs to find a way to make their guest interesting, and that's what I did with you. 'Cause
You made
molding brain or molding, bending brains with Ben, molding minds
with Matt.
molding minds with Matt.
There you go. The invisible wall. Make a new podcast, Molding Minds with Matt. I like that.
No, I think it would be fun to bring that stuff to that Friends of Music stuff. That'd be a lot of fun just to BS with you and do that. Would that? Do you plan on having repeat guests on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely like, especially when like COVID's more figured out and I can, maybe do 2 in a week. And,
Yeah.
not have glass and just have it be more who I can get more people on. There's a lot of people who like said yes, but want to do remote. And I'm only trying to do remote if I have to, or if it's someone who literally lives like remote, like not near us. So, because in person is best, as you know. This is much better.
And I've been resisting it this whole time, but this is so unnatural. I can't.
It's unnatural, but have you found yourself like much more locked in?
No, I hate it. It's distracting. It's the worst thing
Have you noticed the difference between you and I?
Never. Wait, what?
Like, I'm here, locked in, not really doing much, and I could tell you what you've been doing the whole time.
I fidget.
You fidgeted the whole time.
I did.
I don't really fidget.
That's why I love doing Friends of Music, because I could lean back and do whatever the heck I wanted on that couch, and the magic of you made it sound great. That was the best sounding podcast with the smallest following. You'll never find a DIY podcast that sounded better.
We were using the $1,000 microphone.
The only times it didn't sound good when I was the one in charge with the mobile recorder. I'm okay.
I'd always be like, man, what are you doing? No, we were using really good mics. We were using AKG
we do have to wrap this up.
414s. Let's wrap it up.
But,
okay, Matt, thank you for
how do you
being
end
here.
this?
I just thank you for being here. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate you did not need to apologize for anything when you're a child and you're...
You know I did.
I appreciate it. I do. But
About
I'm glad you
30
did
years
it.
too late.
I'm so glad. I got made fun of so much.
You win, ultimately. You win. I mean, you suffer, but you win.
When you get picked on, made fun of, hurt, you fail, you have to change a date because of a fest, because it rains, the cops say no, X, Y, and Z, it makes you so resilient.
The adversity, yeah.
It makes nothing. It's like literally the pandemic, I was like, yeah, whatever. It's pandemic, whatever. What else is new?
Yeah.
Like, it's just these things. Just your classic
what
pandemic.
else is run-of-the-mill pandemic?
Like it. That's set the bar high. Now I'm just like, when people like complain about stuff, like, what are you talking about? Like, we lost everything. Like nothing.
Do you think the world will be changed when this is all...
Ever so slightly.
Because I tell me if this is correct or near correct, but I've thought of 9/11 as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we were changed, but now there's like comedians making like Twin Tower jokes about death, and there's it's become...
It'll be kind of
normal
interwoven in the fabric. Like it changed flights and security.
Yeah.
This is going to change certain securities for hospital. As far as like procedures, it's going to change. Maybe grocery stores will have certain procedures. Like,
you think so, though?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
I think it'll be
because we were, as a nation, so on board. 9/12, 2001, we were... The group mind was so much more cohesive than it is during this.
Yeah.
We're actually the opposite during this.
We're really
which kind of makes
divided.
me not
Really
scared
divided,
or nervous, but like, I don't think we're going to learn our lesson from this.
Some people might not. I mean, the lesson I learned is I just started like taking an insane amount of vitamins and working out a lot. And like, I haven't even come close to feeling under the weather in a year. Like nothing.
Yeah.
No cold, nothing.
And you know what's weird too? No, let's end this because this is getting... Let's end this.
It's weird.
Go. No, I can't say it.
Okay, off mic. Matt, you're great.
Stop it.
You're my favorite person on this planet.
I can't
You're my
hear
favorite cousin.
I can't hear you.
You've been there for me. I love you. He's leaving. I'm going to keep saying it. He drops the mic and leaves. You got your sticker? Grab all the stickers and grab them all.
All of them for me?
Yeah, everything. All right, thank you for being here, Matt.
Thanks, Ben.
Love you. You'll be back soon. Bye, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that interview that Matt did of me.